and then I'll turn it over. All right, everything looks good. All indications are green. Just a few seconds more. Okay, the meeting is yours, Mr. Dolan. Let us know if you need anything.
Okay, thank you. All right, welcome everybody. I'd like to call to order the Lyon Township Board of Trustees meeting August 5th, 2020. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the
of
United
the United States of
America
America,
and to the republic
republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Kelly, could you please call roll?
Sure. Lisa Blades,
Here.
Patricia Carpini,
Here,
Michelle Cash,
Here.
John Dolan,
Here.
Christopher Enlow,
Here.
John Hicks,
Here.
Sean O'Neill.
Okay, we're all present. Thank you. Moving forward to the approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
I'll support. Patty Carconi,
Could you please call this by roll, Kelly?
Sean O'Neill,
Yes.
John Hicks,
Yes.
Christopher Enlow,
Yes.
John Dolan,
Yes.
Michelle Cash,
Yes.
Patricia Carconi,
yes.
Lisa Blades.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We're moving on to the approval of the agenda. We do have one deletion tonight. It's the fireworks display for Walnut Creek has been, they are not going to do it this year, so we need to remove that from the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of item
New
B,
business.
11B.
11B. I'll support. Michelle Cash.
Okay, Kelly, please call this by roll.
Michelle Cash,
Yes.
John Hicks,
Yes.
Patricia Carconi,
Yes,
Sean O'Neill,
Yes.
John Dolan,
Yes.
Christopher Enlow,
Yes.
Lisa Blades.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. We're going to move on to announcements and communications, and I just have some quick announcements I'd like to put out there. First of all, I would like to congratulate Sean O'Neill, Lisa Blades, and Chris Enlow for their re-election to the board. They've done a great job in the past, and I'm really looking forward to the future. I want to thank John Hicks for the many, many years that he served the township. I believe it was in the 1990s. He served it well. I'm super appreciative of John Hicks, and thank you, John, for your service to the board. I know you have a few more months, but I still want to thank you for the great service that you've given us here in the township. And I'd also like to congratulate Robert Swain for the new addition that's going to sit in John Hicks's seat. It was a great run, and he did a great job, and looking forward to serving with Robert. And also, I would like to thank Michelle Cash and Patty Carconi for the support and their great election. They won their election also, and Patty has been a member of this board for many, many, many years, and she's done such a great job. And Michelle, I can't say how great you were in this election. You did such a fabulous job, and the employees for our election team that Michelle had around them was truly amazing, and they did just such a wonderful job. And I just wanted to thank everybody, and I wanted to let you know I do look forward to serving with you again. And let's see if we can keep this township moving in such a great direction, because it is a great direction that we're in. And I just want to thank everybody.
yeah. Here, here.
Very good.
We're gonna miss our John.
Thank you.
Well,
Thanks.
Thanks, John.
And that being said, I have one more thing. Tonight, we have a special guest that would like to give us an update on things that are going on. It is my pleasure to introduce, representing the 11th District of Michigan, Congresswoman Haley Stevens, and I hope she's on. She would like to talk to you a little bit tonight.
Yep. Can you see
Mike
me
is
and hear
yours.
me?
You
Yeah.
can.
We can. Done.
Well, how nice to be with you all virtually. Thank you so much for your incredible leadership. John, I'll just say the township's so lucky to have you. Your business leadership and the way that you have a very strategic focus on your community and the long-term trajectory is something to be commendable, just as along with the work that you do with the Downtown Development Authority. I poke around on your websites from time to time, and you guys represent the best in business in that you don't have to reach out or call all the time, and that's fine. Just know my line is open to all of you. And hats off to Michelle, by the way. Congratulations on getting the election of a lifetime, the test run off without a hitch, and allow me to extend my accolades to everybody who was on the ballot yesterday. Look, we here in Oakland County and parts of Western Wayne that we have in our district, we have something really special, which is that we are tied so heavily to our the nation's manufacturing arsenal, the making economy. You know, that new Hudson corridor is really something special. I really enjoy going over there, spending time with Pratt Miller, and you know, we're certainly in choppy waters, and we know that. But I'll just tell you all, the country does look at us, particularly for our industrial leadership. The minute that the big three announced that they were going to be temporarily shuttering due to this pandemic, my phone started ringing and everybody said, how can we make the personal protective equipment? How can we solve these supply chain disruptions? And it was really that industrial call to action that harkened to times past, as well as just our bread and butter here in Michigan. And we faced tough times before, and we've absolutely bounced back. I don't need to get into the weeds of every little thing we're working on in Washington. I'm actually doing my 26 towns tour right now. Normally I'd be with you all in person and maybe going down the Hudson Valley Trail or, spending time in the neighborhoods with all of you. But these are different times. We're on 24-hour return notice to Washington to vote on another coronavirus package. I'm really optimistic that that's going to be bipartisan. Obviously, it has to be. And there's not too many tomatoes being thrown, which is a good thing. End of last week, when we were still in session, I got my child care bill done. This is a really nice piece of legislation. It came right out of our district, which obviously we all know we want to get back to work. We want to tie people to their jobs. I'm in the party of jobs and want to make sure that everyone has a pathway to a good career, which starts, by the way, with what we do with our flying toasters and our, Southline's first robotics teams and all that great stuff that goes on out in your neck of the woods. You guys know how to do all that. And once we get our students back, we'll be back there. But for our working parents who have kids in daycare, we've got about 40% of our daycares that are under imminent threat of closure. And so the Daycare Recovery Fund is going to get us the resources and the public-private partnership support to make sure that our daycares can reopen, that parents can afford that daycare and all that other stuff. And that's obviously so important too, as employers are calling people back to work and also looking to recruit new talent. The supply chain Resilient Supply Chain Task Force Act is another bill I just announced. This is going to be a big boon for our region. Please, 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 if you guys want to be involved in this, let us know. Bipartisan, bicameral bill. I introduced it with my colleague. You may not have heard of him. His name is Troy Balderson. He's a Republican member of Congress from Ohio. That's why I'm thinking you might not have heard Troy, but it's a fun thing when you get Michigan and Ohio together to work on something. It's for manufacturing and jobs. We'll seek to win together, and then beyond that, it's the sports competition. But we've got that bill, and it's also in the Senate. It was also introduced at the same time by Senator Chris Coons and Marco Rubio. And the Resilient Supply Chain Task Force Act is going to do some fabulous things, create a manufacturing guard of private sector leaders to maintain the health of our supply chains in a multitude of sectors. If we ever end up in a crisis again, we're going to run simulations and tests, forge new jobs and businesses out of those. I believe that's my projection for that. And then launch a technology core to continue to build that next generation workforce. So I know you all are tight on time and I want to be respectful, but if we were together in person, I'd be presenting you with this. It'll be coming in the mail.
Oh,
It's a beautiful United States flag that was flown over the Capitol in the honor of everyone in Lyon Township. This is, my gift to you and my recognition. So come visit us anytime at our district office. And please know my line is always, always open to all of you. And thank you so much. Thanks. I see Patricia's on as well. We always love our treasurers. We got we give them credit along with all of you. Sean, I know you got a nice economic development background. We'd love to pick your brain. And John, saluting you too. And Lise, I'm a huge fan. And Christopher, you guys are just all special, special people. So thank you so much, from the bottom of my heart, and let's continue to win the future together. Thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks for the flag.
Thanks for
Yeah.
the flag.
Awesome. You
Love that.
deserve it. So,
Thanks so much.
yeah.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah. Cheers.
Anyone else like to announce or communicate any communications across?
Well, can I say something real quick? I want to say thank you to everyone at the staff at Lyon Township who we had helping us to organize all of our ballot slips to make sure everyone came in and everyone was accounted for. The election workers that showed up with their masks on all day, and I know that was a long, hard day. They did fantastic. I just can't believe how great we did. Our turnout was 42.86%, so that was kind of disappointing, but honestly, I know we're going to have a great turnout for November. So I know the partisan, voting for sticking to your ticket or sticking to your lane on your ballot is kind of hard for people to do. And some of them don't feel like they want to do that. And I think that might be some of the reason the election wasn't as big as it should have been. But I hope the general election is going to be huge. So thanks again for everybody and for putting up with me and my craziness during election time. Thanks.
Michelle, John, I have
ahead.
a quick question for Michelle. Michelle,
Sure.
how many ballots were spoiled because people crossed over?
Live
You know,
in the
roughly?
precinct, it was a few. I was surprised even with the direction that I think when people turned the ballot over, they still didn't realize that they had to stay in their lane. I don't
Right.
have the exact number, but I can figure that out for you. I'll get back to you on that.
It's
But that
it's no
was
big
kind
deal.
of tough for people. They, we asked
Yeah.
them to please just look at both sides first before you started marking. And I still think that was like, even with that direction, they'd get up there and went, oh, son of a gun, I still did it wrong. And a lot of them,
Right.
it's no problem. We can spoil the ballot and give you a new one and try it again. So it worked out
Right.
great. And we just tried to give good direction to prevent spoiling, because I think ballots might be really tight in November if everybody does show up. But we shouldn't have the spoiling aspect there unless they just overvote
Sure.
vote in a section. So it won't be as hard
Okay.
for people. Yep.
Sure. Thank you.
But I'll get that
You
information
did a
for you.
flawless job. You really did a flawless job. It really went well, and kudos to
Thanks.
you.
It's never flawless, but I mean, it was minimal. So it was very good. We really just try to help everybody to make sure that they can vote.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Perfect. Anybody else like to comment? Okay, then let's move on to the call to the public where they can come on and talk about non-related agenda items. And we'd like to keep that to 3 minutes if possible. Ken, anyone on?
Yeah, again, a reminder to any of the callers that are on the line, if you'd like to speak, please press *9 on your keypad, and that will alert us that you would like to speak, and we will unmute your number. I do see that we have a caller that would like to speak. We will unmute your line, caller. And again, please state your name and address for the record. Go ahead, caller.
Frank Sikora, Post 24233, Terra Drive, South Lyon, Michigan. This is a comment for the board. We are dealing with a noise nuisance coming from Dandy Acres Animal Kennel. We deal with this on a daily basis. It is against the zoning ordinances and special land use. So special land use stipulates that they are not allowed to run any kind of boarding in the facility. We can't enjoy our property. We can't go outside. We hear constant dogs barking. And we're just asking the board to please enforce the zoning ordinances and special land uses. I'm going to keep coming to these meetings every month until it happens. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, again, to any of the callers on the line, if you'd like to speak, please press star 9 on your keypad. Seeing no other callers at this time, Mr. Dolan?
No more calls?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. We're going to close the call to the public and move on to reports. First report up is DDA, Tina.
Hi, everyone. How's
Hello.
everyone? Yep, good. So at our last meeting, I did provide pretty comprehensive update on what's been going on, especially in regards to assisting our small business owners. So I just wanted to provide an update tonight. And so just reminding everyone that we began a task force in cooperation with the Kensington Valley Chamber and also the City of South Lyon to create a campaign that would boost sales for our retailers and our restaurants during this COVID crisis. And we've started this campaign, went ahead and provided you some images on the feather flags that have been purchased along with some yard signs. And we also wanted to give a huge thanks to Fortis Solutions, which is a label maker in our downtown in the industrial area. And they provided us with 6,000 of these shop local, dine local stickers that we'll be passing out to the businesses to share with their customers. I also wanted to give you an example of actually what they look like. So these are the flags that came in. And you'll notice that we have quite a few of them. We have about 40 of them on display in the core and the edge districts of the downtown. We have about 60 more to put out in the commercial area. And these are the stickers that were provided. And of course, these are the yard signs. I also wanted to share with you our slogan for this campaign, and I hope you'll like it. It's called Show Your Love for Lyon, supporting local businesses responsibly and respectfully. And so we're going to have this pretty much plastered everywhere. It's going to be printed off and put in the windows of all of our businesses. Another fun thing that we hope to do is to engage the public and our business owners in a social media campaign. They'll all receive this image of the sign, and we'll be encouraging them to share that on their social media, ask their customers to take pictures with it. And it's just another way to just spread the slogan throughout the community and encourage people to support our small business owners. So here's just some examples. And of course, we can't forget our little mascot here, Leo the Lion. And then the other thing we're doing, and this was just agreed on recently, was we're going to be partnering with Big Frog in Brighton. And they have a Michigan Strong campaign that we're going to be tapping into. And it'll allow people to go online and actually order these t-shirts. And what's nice about this is they're made to order. And it is a fundraiser. So the t-shirts will cost $20 a piece. $10 goes to pay for the cost of the shirt. And then the other $10 is raised as a fundraiser. And what we'd like to do is take the money that comes from that campaign and just put it right back in to continue our marketing and promotional efforts for our small business owners. And then I just wanted to recognize a few people. We had a great deal of help from the new pastor, Pastor John Paycheck. He's over at the United Methodist Church in the downtown, along with Carol and Sarah. The three of them helped us actually assemble 100 of those flags. And just to give you an idea, those flags are 16 feet tall. So it took quite an assembly line to put them together, but we wanted to thank them for their efforts. And also letting you know that we have pulled 6 of our picnic tables down from the park into the downtown to place on the front lawn of the church to just provide an additional outdoor seating area for folks. And we also pulled down our big Adirondack chair that says Lyon Township. And that's going to make its rounds to each one of the businesses. It's currently sitting at the New Hudson Inn. And over the weekend, a lot of people had their pictures taken with it, and we're posting that on social media as well. So just trying to look for some really creative ways to get people engaged in supporting our businesses. And then also just wanting to let you know, we continue to let our business owners know of any grants or loan opportunities. We do have the Oakland County Small Business Recovery Grant that is still open right now that will close on, I believe, August 24th. And we're also working to keep them supplied with any PPE by letting them know where they can order that material. So that will conclude my report, and I'll take any questions if anyone has any.
Wow, Tina, that's really, really cool. I like the slogan. I like the slogan a lot. That means something. I really like it. Good job.
Thank
Tina,
you.
I love it too. Are they going to
Thank
be,
you.
this is Michelle Cash, are they going to be able to, we're giving those away? Are they able to purchase them? Or like, if I want one, can I buy one?
Yeah, we'll be having that link go live next week, and anyone can purchase those. And we're also looking to get masks made as well. So I think
I love that. Great.
yeah, the mask will run $6. So if you get a t-shirt and the mask, it's a $26 purchase.
That might be something for election day for our guys to wear in the precincts. Great. Awesome.
Really
We
cool.
wanted to show your love for Lion campaign too, because you're not just showing your love for our local businesses, but for each other. You know,
Sure.
these are tough times, and we're trying to support each other and just show our unity and just be
That
able
was
to
very good.
express that.
Great job.
Great.
Tina. Great
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Tina? All right, let's move on to Chief Fire.
Good evening, everyone. Ken, could you start by allowing Dave Q's video?
Yep.
He needs the host to accept.
We'll bring him up right now, Chief.
Yeah, you could. Yep, there he is. So I'll keep on the theme of grants as well. That we recently put 8 firefighters through the Blue Card Incident Command training, and that was all grant funded by the state of Michigan. So we'll be getting a reimbursement soon for over $3,000. Just received word about 3 o'clock today that we have been awarded a FEMA COVID-related grant. Michelle and I have been working on that, and so we've been given 30 days to accept or decline, and so we've been compiling all of the expenses, receipts, and all of that stuff, and we'll be submitting, I think, a pretty significant reimbursement through FEMA for this because of the COVID pandemic. Finally, I did want to, Dave Q is a lieutenant with the fire department, and it's kind of hard to figure out how to recognize someone in this type of setting, but this is what we came up with. Instead of me just holding a plaque, Dave Q is celebrating 25 years with Lyon Township. So it's hard to do anything for 25 years. And he's been with this department, risen up through the ranks, and he's, like I said, he's been a lieutenant for quite a long time. He's also in charge of our social media, which I think is unmatched in, if you look at public safety around the state or anywhere. Dave just has a knack for how to handle the social media and get the public safety messages out there. So Dave, if you can hear me, and he's at home tonight, but he was presented with the plaque, and can you, there it is.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah. So he's
Nice.
been a stellar firefighter, and just loves Lyon Township unapologetically. So I'd like to ask if he can have a couple words, if he has any.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you to the board for your support recently, and look forward to the future. Like I said, been here 25 years, seen a lot of changes over the time, and stations and trucks. And when I first started Lyon, we were doing around like 325 calls a year to where we're at now. It's pretty amazing. So it's been an honor to be a part of it. So my wife the other day, we were driving down some of these streets, just thinking how many of these houses I've been on to calls, or on 96, how many spots I've been stopped at to help people on accidents over the years. So it's really humbling to be here, and I look forward to staying around much longer.
Wow, that's wonderful. And I'll tell you what, Dave, Lyon Township is sure a lot safer because of you. And you're very important.
Thanks,
to
Dave.
just so you know.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
Congratulations too on that helmet. That's pretty cool.
Dave, Lyon Township loves you as well as I, because we've been together a long time. So congratulations. I love the plaque that the chief picked for you.
Yeah, so
It's wonderful.
funny story. When I first got hired, it was on my 18th birthday. And I remember I was floating in my parents' swimming pool and Chief Cash called and answered the phone. He was like, "Yeah, this is the chief of Lyon Township Fire." I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" He's like, "Good." He's like, "So are you ever going to come up and pick up your fire gear and your pager, or is it just going to sit in my office?" And I was like, does that mean I'm hired? Should I come up now? Or he's like, "Well, only if you want to work here." I was like, "All right, well, I guess I'm hired. I'll be there in a minute." So on my 18th birthday, and since then, never looked back.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you for your service. Very
Yep.
appreciative.
Much.
Yep. Congratulations, Dave. And that concludes my report, unless there's any questions.
Any questions for
No
Chief?
questions.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Chief.
You bet.
Let's move on to Lieutenant. Lieutenant, you out there?
Yes, I am.
There he
Good evening,
is.
everyone. Yeah, well, I have some good news about reimbursements also. I received an email from my commanders downtown, and they wanted me to let you guys know that they did apply, and they're planning on accepting a public safety and public health payroll reimbursement program funding from the state. And this is going to apply to all of our contracted areas. So what that means for you is the county would refund straight time and benefit costs to the township for the months of April and May. And since here, the only caveat is that if the township would need to sign an agreement, and if for some reason the money needed to be returned to the state, or if the qualifications for the community is changed, that the township would have to give that money back to the county. But it sounds like we're going to get a refund due to this pandemic for some of the costs that you guys pay for policing. This is all the information we have at this time, but the major did say that to make you aware of it, and once I get additional information, I can relay that to you.
Well, that's great news, Lieutenant. That's really great news.
It is, yeah, that is. We'll see how it works out. But
We'll see. We definitely don't want to have to pay it back, though.
right, that's the trick, to get it without the. Well, I mean, it's already paid. So.
All right, great. Well, thank you, Lieutenant.
No, I have something else too.
Go ahead.
Really quickly.
Yes.
In regards to the SROs, I've reached out to the school board a couple times. Haven't heard anything back yet. I've been informed that they're having their meeting tonight, so hopefully we will get something from that meeting, and I can relay that to you in the near future. I mean, at the very least, we just need to know how we're going to proceed. If we're going to do virtual or hybrid, or just what that may be. But in any event, I will let you know when I get that information.
Great. Thanks. Keep us informed.
No problem.
All right, moving on. Planning Commission. Patty, anything going on?
Yeah, we had 2 board meetings in the month of July. The first one was Monday, July 13th. We held a public hearing on Hickory Creek special land use along with Hickory Creek site plan. The Planning Commission agreed to table it for some issues which were lacking information in the deed restrictions, the pump station location, and the rental house. So that got tabled. Under old business, we had event barns. So we had a long discussion on that, and Brian and Chris are going to look into bringing back some more information for us regarding event barns. Then under new business, we had Lion Crossing, the PD amendment to the Watermark Residential final review, which is on our board meeting tonight. And the board, the PC absolutely approved that. Again, they did everything we asked them to do, so we had no complaints. And then we had a little discussion and agreed to have this reviewed more by our planners, was the residential district lot width and setback amendments. So that was that meeting. And then we had our other meeting was Monday, July 27th. And we had the new exciting business coming to Lion site plan, which was NLB. And that's National Liquid Blasters. I hope I got that right. And they presented their site plan, and we had made some remarks, but they're on a little time limit. So we did approve it with conditions. So that we'll wait for those to come back. And then our second thing, Brian and Chris brought back the residential district lot width and setbacks. And we gave them, again, some more information to bring back or put it on a public hearing. And that concludes my reports.
Thank you. Any questions for Patty? All right, let's
All
move
good.
on to the ZBA. I think Lisa had something this time.
Yes, we did. We
All
had
right.
Yay.
a virtual meeting and we had 2 items. One was for the spec building at Walbridge and dealt with some variances for the height, and the ZBA felt it was important to grant that for some certain special circumstances, especially having the architectural detail that so many of us did like about the building. And then we also, so that passed. And then we also had a resident request having a variance so that he could, which would facilitate him building an additional garage, and that was passed as well.
Great.
Good job.
Good job. Yeah. Finally got a meeting going on there. That's good.
I know, sadly, there isn't one this month, but maybe September.
All right.
Yes, and they finally elected officers.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, moving on. Park Advisory Board. Robert, anything going on there?
Yeah, so the survey, we're currently still waiting on that to be loaded into SurveyMonkey by McKenna. I did get a nice update while I was in voting yesterday from Melanie that the replacement for the disc golf course payment box is on order. So that should be coming soon and getting set back up there. We will be doing a final pass at our CIP recommendations, and that should be coming on to you guys, I believe, in the next month or so. And the big exciting thing is that we have an applicant for our vacant position at long last. And we met with her and have voted to recommend that. So given the short notice, I didn't put that on your agenda for this month, but you'll have it for next month to move that appointment forward. The only other item that came up that I wanted to ask about is the ice rink was mentioned. And I know we had that approved last year. We ended up pushing it off due to a combination of timing and weather. And so looking for some guidance on whether you think we'd like to pursue that for this winter or not. And if we do, whether the resolution approving it from last year is still valid or if we need to redo that.
Okay. I think we're going to have to talk about that because of circumstances of what we're going through right now. I'm not sure yet, but we can definitely talk about that. That's for
yeah,
sure.
I think we have some time to talk about it. I just wanted to get that on the radar.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, don't wait too long, because with the weather being good, that's when you should probably get it assembled and put up. So
Put it on the agenda for September.
Okay.
Talk about it.
Yeah, we got some thinking to do through that. So, we'll have to brainstorm that a little bit.
All right. So you want it as an item for September then, actually?
Yes.
I think it'd be a good idea.
Yep. Get us all your information mid-September.
Yep.
Okay. Is that it, Robert? You good?
I'm good.
Mid-August.
Unless anybody had any questions.
All right. Any
All
questions?
good.
Robert?
All right.
All right. We do have a public hearing tonight, and we're going to move on to that public hearing. But before we enter the public hearing, I would like Tina to kind of explain what it's all about. Tina, would you go ahead and give an introduction to it?
Sure. So part one of a public hearing for the establishment of a industrial development district. It's actually the first stage in a two-stage process when considering an abatement of a real property tax as set forth in PA 198 of 1974, Plant Rehabilitation and Industrial Development Districts Act as amended. The second stage involves a decision regarding an application and the length of term abatement, which is also going to be on the agenda later on this evening. So public hearing is required when you are going to take measures to establish an industrial development district. The area that is being considered for this evening is located at 51701 Grand River Avenue, which is on the south side of Grand River, west of Napier Road. It is zoned a light industrial property, and the property parcel number is 21-12-451016. So now would be the time for any public comment in regards to establishing this district.
Okay, so everyone understand the public hearing?
Yep.
All right, everyone understands that. I would like to open the public hearing at 7:37 and open it up, Ken, for anyone in the public that would like to comment.
Yeah, again, to anyone that's in the public on a telephone, if you'd like to speak, please press *9 on your keypad, and that will alert us that you would like to speak. And I do see, Mr. Dolan, we have a couple of callers. I will unmute the first one. Again, caller, please state your name and address for the record. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, this is Frank Artaglia. I'm at 59400 Edwards Drive. And my question was with regard to ingress and egress on a private road. So I believe that was something that Miss Patricia Carcone was referencing, but I need further clarification on that. I was of the understanding that ingress and egress on private roads would be on this agenda. Am I understanding that correctly?
Okay, now this is a public hearing for a tax abatement. I think you're probably a little off.
Unfinished business.
Yeah. Yeah, this
Okay.
is just for questions about the tax abatement for the industrial district.
Okay, so when will the discussion around private roads be addressed?
That's in the unfinished business. It's coming up.
Okay, thank you.
It'll be in the next block. Okay.
Yep.
Just stay tuned. Okay.
Thank you. Will do.
Okay, we'll move on to the next caller. Caller, again, we'll unmute your line. And again, please state your name and address for the record. Go ahead, caller.
Hello, this is Linda Hyaduck. I'm Senator Jim Runstead's district director, and I just tuned in. Hello to the board and all the citizens of Lyon Township.
Please, excuse me. Just 1 second. This is a public hearing for a tax abatement. We're kind of in a public hearing for a tax abatement.
That is what I wanted clarification on. I somehow got this number in my calendar, and so where is board meeting? Is there going to be a board meeting following this?
Yes, we'll have an agenda after the public hearing closes. We'll have an agenda item.
Okay, very, very sorry to interrupt. And so I'll just hang on then. Thank you.
Okay, please hang on.
Okay, for any of the remaining callers, if you would like to speak, please press *9 on your keypad. Seeing no other callers at this time, Mr. Dolan?
Okay, thank you, Ken. I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:39. Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to unfinished business, and the two items we have under unfinished business are second readings. And the first one is on the sign ordinance. It's the adoption of the ordinance for the signs. And I would like Brian, if there's anything that needs to be talked about or changed, could you please bring that forward?
Thank you, John. In your packet this evening is the second reading, the resolution for the sign ordinance. It is largely unchanged from the first reading, although I have made a couple modifications, very minor, that were raised by Trustee Enlow, as well as I got some additional comments just recently that I do think warrant one change that I'll talk about tonight. But I standardized some numbers for the maximum size of flags, things like that. One thing that I do believe we should change based on a comment from Tina is the way that we have our industrial district sandwich board signs in the ordinance today would be to just allow a sandwich board sign in the B2 and in New Hudson. Many of our industrial district tenants and operators utilize these sandwich board signs for help wanted signs and things like that. So I do think it is wise of us to make a slight modification to what's in front of you and include our industrial districts for those temporary signs. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Again, this is the culmination of kind of a reorganization as well as addressing our content-based regulations that are in the ordinance now. I can take any other specific questions anybody has, but
Would
I
there
think
be
we're in good
any,
shape.
Brian, would there be any reason to table this until it gets the right wording put into the ordinance? Or do you think that we're capable of moving this forward tonight?
I think we're capable of moving this forward. It's a minor change just to add those couple districts for that particular sign type. If you're okay with having sandwich board signs in our industrial properties, again, these are temporary signs, so they won't be permanent in any form or fashion. I think it's a minor change and not worth holding up the whole ordinance for.
All right, well, let's go ahead and open it up for a little bit of discussion to see what everyone thinks. So Lisa, do you have any comments on this?
I don't have any comments at this time.
Okay. Okay, anyone have any comments? Go ahead, Chris.
I got a quick one, Brian, and I know you pretty much made all the changes. The one thing I think we still need to add is some of the expanding the definitions to include the projector image, costume, and neon signs. We referenced those in the ordinance, but they're not specifically defined. And I guess I can defer to you on those definitions. I don't think that's anything to hold it up, but just so there's no confusion when those items are referenced.
I know typically, for example, with a neon sign, there's not usually a separate definition for it because a neon sign's a neon sign. So I think the ones that have to be defined, we've included in, but the others, there's just a common knowledge of what they are.
Maybe I'm not particularly knowledgeable about a costume sign.
Somebody dressed up in a costume trying to convey a message. So, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can look at it and add, but I don't know that we'd find anything for neon. I'm sure we can come. You have costume and what else?
Projector image.
Okay.
Sound reasonable that you could put that in there?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can. Yeah.
Okay.
I tend to agree with Carol that the neon sign, I don't know that we'll find one. The other two, we can
come up with something on
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I'll move the adoption of ordinance 06-20 with the changes referenced by Brian and with the two definitions that Chris requested to be added tonight, which are costume signs and projection signs.
Okay, we have support?
I'll support.
All right, any further comments? Okay, let's go ahead and call this by roll, Kelly.
John Hicks,
Yes.
Lisa Blades,
Yes.
Christopher Enlow,
Yes.
Sean O'Neill,
Yes.
John Dolan,
Yes.
Michelle Cash,
Yes.
Patricia Carconi.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to our second one. This is the private road ordinance. And again, I think there was a few changes. And Brian, do you want to go ahead and talk about the changes?
Yes, thanks, John. And I apologize off the bat. One of the main changes that I intended to make and did not was, if you recall at the first reading, we determined that it was appropriate to remove the maximum length of a shared private driveway. So this would be a driveway that serves only no more than 2 parcels. So so that is a change that we will make to that ordinance for adoption. The other change that we've made is to the zoning ordinance section, and this is under 1209C. There's a table for our road width standards for single-family detached residential lots. And if you recall, we had some separate standards for what was considered large lot residential versus smaller lots, single-family detached lots. I've changed some of that language to read that we would allow for an open ditch road if the development is meeting our minimum R10 lot width standards. And then any development that takes any sort of size reduction, be that a planned development or an average lot size, or a cluster development, they would be required to have a paved surface, curb and gutter. So those are the big changes from the last go around. And I can take any questions you might have.
Okay, I'd like to really quick open it up to the trustees. Is there any questions that you'd like to ask Brian? Chris, anything?
Yeah, just one real quick. I think we touched on it last time, but on the revised ordinance, I think in the easement section, it's section 36-81B. We still have the easement on there for a shared driveway at like 66 feet. I think that was going to be updated, and then also the driveway width as well.
Yeah, I do remember that was going to be changed. That was one we missed?
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's all.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions for Brian?
No,
Okay, if not, there was a caller that was asking about this private road, and if he's still online, I would like to get his comment. Ken, is he still on?
Yep, I'll bring him up right now, Mr. Dolan.
Hi, this is Frank Tartaglia. I'm at 59400 Edwards Drive, and the private road that we have basically serves 4 houses. It's off of Edwards Drive, and my concern is that there is a homeowner that has 15 acres roughly that wants to enlarge that area to create some new homesteads on that 15 acres. So he wants to use our small driveway, if you will, to access or egress or ingress off of our road. And my concern is that since we only have 4 homes on this road, I thought we were grandfathered as a result of being here for so many years.
Yeah, I believe you would be, Frank. I think this changes after you have put yours in place. I don't think it would pertain to you. Am I right on that, Brian?
Correct. Anything that's in place today is not impacted. If in the event that any lots were split off of a lot that takes access off of an existing private road, it would be subject to these new standards. So they would have to be brought up to modern regulations. So.
Okay.
The entire driveway, correct, Brian?
Correct, all the way from the right of way
back
from the main road all the way to the end.
Does that answer your question,
Well,
Frank?
the end is, well, no, that clarifies a lot. So thank you for that clarification. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for the call. Do we have anyone else online, Ken?
If anyone would like to speak, please press *9 on your keypad. Seeing no one, Mr. Dolan?
Okay, thanks. Anyone else like to add anything, or do we want to go ahead and move this forward?
One other question. On that, for the shared driveways, the easement width, are we actually going to require an easement for a shared driveway, or is that more or less like a separate like shared driveway agreement, something less serious?
My thought on that is I think it would have to be an easement. And the only reason I say that is because, a shared driveway starts out with a family and then could end up with a cell in the back, and it would be bad if we made that so that, that wasn't an easement. They always have to have an easement to their property is what I'm saying. So I think it should be an easement.
Okay.
Is that your thoughts too? I mean.
I'd agree.
Okay. All right. Anyone like to make a motion to move this forward? Anyone want to make a motion to move this forward? Or?
All right. I'll move the adoption of ordinance 07-20.
Okay.
I will second.
All right, Kelly, would you call this by roll, please?
Sure. Christopher Enlow,
Yes.
Sean O'Neill,
Yes.
John Hicks,
Yes.
Patricia Carconi,
Yes.
Lisa Blades,
Yes.
Michelle Cash,
Yes.
John Dolan.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
All right.
I-
I'll move the adoption.
Okay, we're gonna move on to new business.
No, well, we have,
Excuse me.
The other one.
Oh,
I'll
we
move
have
the
a
adoption of.
Part B on the zoning ordinance amendment for the private roads.
yep,
Oh.
I'll
almost
move the adoption
completed.
of ordinance 08-20.
I'll second.
Please call this by roll, please, Kelly.
Lisa Blades,
Yes.
Sean O'Neill,
Yes.
Patricia Carconi,
Yes.
John Hicks,
Yes.
Michelle Cash,
Yes.
John Dolan,
Yes.
Christopher Enlow.
Yes.
Okay. Got that done. All right, now we're going to move on to new business. First item in new business is a consideration to approve the change order for Artesian Pioneer to put us a 2 million gallon tank at 9 Mile and Griswold. And I'm hoping Ed is online.
Yeah, I was looking for the phone number, the 4224, and I did not see that come in. Ed, if you're online, please press *9 on your keypad.
Okay.
Do not see him, Mr. Dolan.
Okay, well, basically, I can kind of, cut it for him a little bit here, if we can't get him online. If you remember in the past, we had two 1 million gallon elevated tanks in the bond to.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
You there, Ed?
I'm here.
Okay.
I had to push *6 instead of *9, but I can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Down now.
So go ahead, Ed, and explain this this change order.
Well, we went through this at the last meeting, and the reasons we arrived at putting in a 2 million gallon tank in lieu of a second water tower at this time, is because of the peak hourly demand. If the township grows much larger, the peak hourly demand is going to exceed our storage capacity in our water towers. And as we talked last month, you use the bulk of your water starting at 3 o'clock in the morning up through about noonish hour, and we have to meet that peak hourly demand as the demand grows for the township. So I don't have all the charts that we showed last month, but I think it made it very clear that if we get up around 8 million gallons a day, and we've been hitting 5, by the way, quite regularly this summer. If we get up around 8 million gallons a day, we need to be able to pump water into the system at a faster rate than what the 2 water plants are capable of doing. And so the theory is we fill this 2 million gallon tank up overnight, so that it's available when the large demand comes. And in addition to the 2 water treatment plants starting up as they do today, we'll also have this excess storage that we can pump from, and we'll basically have 6 pumps feeding the system, and that's the reason for the change.
And the key to this whole thing is it's called a change order, but it's only a change order because it's a wash. If we eliminate the 1 million gallon elevated tank, we get a 2 million gallon ground tank that also includes a pumping station that helps the system also. And also, remember that in the wintertime, we have such low flows that we have a worry about stagnant water, not turning it over quick enough. So this will allow us to take this 2 million gallon tank and put it into mothballs for the winter time and use the elevated tanks for the low flow season. And as soon as summer comes, we can get this tank back online. And it's really going to be a super improvement to our system. This, along with the softening that Ed has got almost approved, we're really on the cusp of that. This will make us the one in a lifetime water deliverer. I mean, we're going to have the best water ever. And I think this would be a big key to our system. I don't know if, the problem with what's happening now is these sprinklers, the irrigation in our township basically turns on in the morning, and we use the majority of our water within just a few hours. These plants are designed to manufacture 11.5 million gallons in 24 hours, and we're using 5 million in 3 or 4 hours. So this storage tank will be a huge plus to the system. And that's why we're here tonight. We're hoping that you agree, and we have a perfect place for it at 9 and Griswold on the corner. It would be beautiful sitting there and really help our system. And we have looked everywhere in the township for other ground to put these on, and it would be super expensive. And we have this property already with the perfect line system already there. We have 16-inch mains there, which is great. So if there's any questions, please ask Ed, or if you have any doubts about doing this, please bring them out now.
I have a question for Ed. John Hicks. I asked last time if this would be capable of being expanded, and you thought it might require a greater foundation. Did you look into that any further?
I did. Thank you for mentioning that, John. We went with a little wider tank at the bottom. And if we add an additional $98,000, just under $100,000, we would be able to take this 2 million gallon tank up to 3 million gallons. So I don't know if you're in the mood to spend that extra 100,000 right now, but it would be the cheapest time to buy it right now if you ever needed it. And the way your township's growing, I think you'll need it someday. But you basically can get the foundation built for an extra 1 million gallons for just under $100,000.
But my thoughts are that doesn't include the extra 1 million gallon tank, right? You're just talking about just the foundation.
Yeah. That's just the foundation, and preparing it for an addition down the road. The tank would have the tank would have to be expanded down the road if you wanted to go to 3 million. That's correct.
So how hard is that to expand a tank that's existing to add another 1 million? I mean, are we talking about an extreme amount of money to do that? Sounds like a pretty crazy job.
In your case, it's pretty easy because this tank's going to be empty during the winter time. So what we would do is we went during the downtime of the tank. We would come in, raise the roof up, and add more panels. And I can't tell you how much more that's going to be to add those panels, to add another 1 million gallon at this time. But and it's tough anyway because you probably won't do this for 10 or 15 years, and it'll be a totally different price anyway. But it would be more economical, a lot more economical than building an additional 1 million gallon tank, put it that way.
Okay. Chris, any questions?
No, I guess I kind of like it the way it's presented right now with it's a wash for the 2 million, and that would be sitting next to the elevated tank. So even this extra 2 million seems like looking pretty far down the road in terms of capacity, which is fine, but I'd probably just stick with what's being presented tonight. My one question for Ed is, I know last month he said he was getting comments from from Eagle on the softening, and it sounds like things are moving in the right direction. Do we have a revised time schedule for the softening component to finish up? And then I guess after that, what's kind of the schedule for these groundwater storage tanks?
Well, we'll submit, provided you approve it tonight, we're basically ready to submit the groundwater tank. Obviously there's not a lot of mechanical piping and stuff with that, so I've just had my guys kind of work on it and get it ready in hopes of we would get it approved tonight and we could move it forward. The storage tanks seem to go through Eagle fairly quick, and when I say fairly quick, I think it only took around a month or 6 weeks to get approval for the water tower. So I'm anticipating a similar timeline on that, on this tank for, so basically, our goal would be to try to have this tank operational by the time your next year's springtime hits. In order to do that, obviously, we would have to get a foundation in before freezing weather comes, and so there's a lot of ifs there. We got to get approval, we got to get the foundation in. If the foundation can get in before frost, then we can work on it all winter and have it ready to go in the spring, and that would be the goal. Okay. On the softening, actually just today, they asked 2 additional questions, which we answered within minutes. And I think we're very, very close to getting the green light to move forward with the softening design. And we are already halfway done with that, or probably 3/4 of the way done with that as well. We anticipate that they are going to give us the green light to move forward, and so we've been working on that as well to get all that done. And I hope to submit the softening. If, let's say, they come back, let's see, it's Wednesday, so they probably won't come back this week, but let's say next week we get approval to submit the full drawings for the softening. We will be able to submit by the 1st of September, finish up all the different things that they want added, and then it's just waiting on Eagle to approve it. Now, because they've really, really looked hard at this pilot study on the softening, logic would tell you that it would be a fairly quick review on the master plan, on the full scale plan. But I don't want to promise that. We'll obviously push it as hard as we can push it. And the good, just one more thing on that. The good news is, if we can get approval, then the building at Woodwind is already there. So we could work all winter on it as well, and hopefully have softening on, first part of next year.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Ed. I know that's, and I'm sure John Dolan gets the same questions, but I think that's the number one question I get about the water system is everybody's anxious for the softening part. So just keep plowing forward with it, and as much as you can do to push Eagle. I know they can be challenging, but it sounds like we're moving in the right direction. So.
we definitely are, and I'm more confident today than I've ever been since I met you guys. And by the way, congratulations to all of you, and reelected, and I've appreciated working with you. And John Hicks, I don't know if I'll see you in the next 3 months, but enjoy your retirement, and loved working with you as well. And I know the township will miss you greatly. You've been a valuable board member, but yeah, I'm really confident the softening is on the right track now, and mainly because we don't have to answer any sewer issues, because we're not creating any waste stream, and that has always been, the Achilles heel when talking about softening at Lyon Township is the waste stream. What do we do with it? And so I'm very confident this is going to move forward.
Thank you, Ed, for those nice words. And I have a little bit of information if anyone's seen that tank on 12 Mile and West Park Road. If anyone is familiar with that storage tank, I was curious. It's 10 million gallons, and it has 2 700 horsepower pumps to move their water.
Yeah.
That one, Ed?
Well, yeah, that's a big tank, and this one won't have 700 horsepower pumps, but they still have pretty good horsepower. I think these are 150s. But yeah, I know what you mean. Now, I will say this. Of course, this decision is totally up to you guys. This decision is totally up to you guys. I got a little feedback there, but I love Tina's new logo, and it may look good on this new groundwater storage tank. I don't know.
That'd be great.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. Sean, you got any comments?
I just had a quick question. Well, a couple. I was originally concerned about putting kind of all of our eggs for water storage in one basket. We talked about that last month, and I know, John, you mentioned in your comments that you'd looked around. I'm just concerned about there being breaks in the future, or this supply being cut off from the rest of the system. And then aesthetically, what will this tank look like exactly, Ed? I know we talked a little bit about it.
Well, this tank will look this tank will look larger in diameter, but this tank will look exactly like the tank that's on top of your water tower right now. Okay, it'll just be setting on that portion that's on the top of the concrete tower right now will be setting on the ground, and it will be a larger tank in diameter, about 38 feet tall. I think it's 104 feet in diameter, and so that's pretty much the way it'll look.
Okay. Security concern wise, obviously the corner is not fenced, and no one can get to the current tank because there's the tower. Will this be, how will we secure this tank from, I guess, anyone being able to just walk up to it and do something to it? And then, site wise on that corner, how far back can we, push it away from the road? I mean, it's not hideous, but it's not the most beautiful thing either. So I'm wondering how exactly we'll site that.
Well, the water tower fencing is not up yet. When we started to come up with this idea, we stopped the fencing as far as being around the water tower. And I would envision that this tank will set close enough to the water tower, and we'll put one set of fencing around both tanks, if you will, to secure both of them at the same time. And I was anticipating, I kind of showed you a drawing last month, but I was anticipating that right now you have the water tower, and then just to the north of that you have the water station where residents can get bulk water. And I'm thinking that this tank would set to the east of that water station and north of the water tower. But you guys can approve where you want it. It won't take long to move it around on the site. I don't want to take too long moving it around on the site because I'd like to get it submitted. But we could certainly pass around I guess we'll come up with what the option is that we would think is best, and you guys can tell me if you reject that idea.
I just, I know this is supposed to be, you're saying 38 feet tall. It won't be able to be completely screened, but it would be nice to get it tucked further away from the road. So it's not right out on the road. So it's, it's not right. The first thing somebody sees, and it's kind of secured back in maybe east of the tower and maybe further back into the woods or into the area to the east of the tower.
I think we have
Just my
room
idea.
to move it back. I think we have room there. We have quite a few acres there, so I think we could move it back in.
Right.
So we can work on that.
Okay. Okay.
Anything else? Lisa, you got anything?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, Sean, sorry.
I just had a couple questions. I just wanted to confirm with Ed, you said that your anticipated location will be north and east of the current tower?
Yes. The current location that I was thinking is directly north, where the front of the, it'd be where the west front of the new tank would be parallel with the west front of the water tower. And so that would place the tank north of the water tower. But if we want to go in Sean's direction, then we would go east of the water tower. I think there's, as John said, I think there's enough room there to do that. And and then the north face of the new tank and the north face of the water tower would be parallel.
Okay. And I think Sean might have mentioned, or I think Sean mentioned something about screening and, and looking at a map, there are two homes that are relatively nearby on 9 Mile and then one home right on Griswold. So, I think if we can put it in a location where we're kind of tucking it away, not only for, seeing it from the road, but also trying to be mindful of those residents. I know that there's a water tower there already, but it would be nice to try to do what we can to screen that, a new storage facility. And then, as always, I'll ask a question about any kind of sidewalks or crosswalks. I do know that there is no existing sidewalk there, but will we be able to, at the time of pouring that foundation, be able to do something so that if in the slightest possible opportunity that there may be a sidewalk somewhere around that area, that we would already have it in place, or we would have room for some kind of crosswalk?
I can comment on the crosswalk if you'd like.
Yes.
I probably wouldn't recommend that at this time because there aren't any other sidewalks to connect to, and we wouldn't want to encourage people visiting the site who aren't there to use the water station. So just from a security standpoint, I would probably wait until there's other sidewalks or pathways to make the connection, then the township could consider a project at that time.
Right. I probably didn't clarify it. I just wanted to make sure that there would be room for that in the future as its alignment, because I would agree, I don't necessarily want a crosswalk there just with nothing else there, and perhaps like Leslie said, promote people hanging out there where it's not necessarily secure, but just making sure that we don't say, oh no, there's 5 years from now, there's no room to put something there if there is a sidewalk.
Yeah, we'll set it back enough for that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else like to comment? John, you all right? Patty, Michelle?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. I might be the one that would consider spending the extra money. It's just because, the sewer enterprise fund or the water enterprise fund belongs to the water customers. And our job is to make sure that we, are taking good care and thinking about it. And I just wonder if it would behoove us to spend the $100,000 now to make sure for the future capacity down the road. You don't know how much more that's going to cost. And I know it's a long ways away, but you know what? From the minute we built the township hall, it was too small. From the minute we did our addition, it was too small. It's almost everything you start with, it's too small. So I just worry. I mean, I know it seems like a lot of money, but our water enterprise fund is very healthy. And I'm thinking that if I'm a customer, which I am not, maybe, Sean is and John is, I mean, I just would think about that because $100,000 now, how much is that going to cost in the future? And if we could do it now, I just, sometimes I think that that's a smart idea. We really are preparing for the future. It's just my 2 cents. I mean, I'm not, I'm kind of indifferent, but sometimes I think about, sometimes we don't maybe do the things we really should do. I mean, I don't know. It seems reasonable to me, especially when our fund is healthy and we're going to help that system in the future. It's just something to think about.
Well, the key to the whole thing is there's no future of a 3 million gallon tank unless you foot it for the 3 million now.
Well, I know that's what
I'm saying. So, I mean, there won't be a future for the 3 million without it. So it's a 2 million or 3 million with the footing later.
I mean, it bothers me to think that we have this opportunity. And I mean, I could understand if we were struggling in our fund. But I think if I were a water customer and I'm a young family and I'm going to live here for a long time and I might need that capacity, and we had an opportunity to, do something that's forward thinking. I don't know. I just think for me, it would be worth to spend the money. It's not our money, but it is the water customers' money.
Okay.
Just my thought.
So I have to wonder. Okay, sorry, John. I was going to ask. I'm wondering, like for Ed and Leslie, in the future, I know where we store water and affects how we deliver water and how we pressurize and equalize the system. So my hesitation would be that we are already now going to have 3 million gallons plugged in right here. If we need another 1 million gallons in the future, it seems to me that it might be, better a couple of miles away to help with pressures in other areas of the system. So while, obviously the cost of expanding it to 3 million gallons is nowhere near 100,000, that's just to put the foundation in. So there would be significant costs. Right. And who knows what we'll be permitted to do anyway. In 10 or 15 years, they'll probably say it's not adequate and we have to rebuild the whole thing and it wasn't worth spending a dime on it because you know how that goes sometimes. But, I have to wonder if, we wouldn't need pressure, at the far east side of the township as opposed to another 1 million gallons here. And so I don't know, Ed, Leslie, what.
Let me address 2 things, mostly to Sean and Lise here. The location, the reason that there is a house just south of the tower on Griswold, which is why we moved the tank, or originally placed the tank on the north side. That house is south of the tower on Griswold, and that's why we put the tank on the north side of the tower, because across the street from the tower is a substation. So there's never going to be anything, there's never going to be a home built over there. Okay. So I just wanted to explain a little bit the logic of why we went north of the existing tower. It's still quite far away from the corner. So it's not like it's right out at the corner. So, it's tucked in with the water tower. All right. That's that one. The second one, Sean, on your point on that, We actually have data on that now. We hooked up a transmitter to a solar panel, and we've been taking it all over the township. I think we've taken it to 5 or 6 or 7 locations now, to see how well our system is balanced. And it's quite remarkable, but the 9 Mile site seems to be a really good site from an engineering standpoint of feeding the different points of the township. Now, having said that, if you get tremendous growth in the southeast quadrant of the township, you're probably going to want to come back and build a water tower down there. Okay, it's just like if you folks move to sell water across the highway into Milford Township, I would highly recommend a tower over there as well. Okay, so you can't really sit here and guess where your growth's coming from, but I can say, after looking at the analysis that we've done over the last 30 days by moving this portable transmitter around, we're in really good shape with that 9 Mile tower and that 9 Mile site.
Does that answer questions for you? Sean?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. It's $100,000. It seemed like a lot. I wish I knew what the cost would be and what the physical changes would be that would be necessary to go from 2 to 3 million gallons. I don't know. You don't have any ballpark yet on what the total cost would be?
Oh boy.
I mean, today, obviously 10, 15 years from now, I mean, double it, but.
Well, you're probably going to be able to add another million gallons for $500,000 if you spend the 100,000 gallons today. Okay. Because you won't have to buy a new roof. All you're doing really is putting the site and making it taller. So my guess is around 50 cents per gallon is what it would take to expand that. Where if you went and built a totally different tank, you're talking a couple bucks. So.
Okay.
So, and I guess to try to make it simple, for every gallon you need in the future, if you've spent this 100,000 today, for every gallon you need in the future, you could do it for 25 cents on the dollar rather than do it in a different location. That makes sense?
Okay. Well, I guess the talk is whether we want to put the extra foundation in for 100,000 or we don't. And it sounds like Chris and Sean are not for it. And I don't know how Lisa is and John. Patty is for it. And I'll tell you one way or the other, I think the 2 million gallons we need, I think it would be wise to build for the future. We never do. If the price is right. I mean, the foundation is the foundation. If you don't put it in now, you never have the opportunity to do it again. It's over. So, it may end up that we never need it. And we look at it, we never need it. It was still 100,000 in my mind that was spent, because if we do need it, it's much cheaper than trying to build another 1 million gallons somewhere else. I mean, we could just add it to the top and get by. And I'm still thinking it's many years down the road. So that's just my thought. And it's totally up to you guys. Michelle, you want to add anything, or do we want to go ahead and get this thing moving?
I was coming here with the, just wanting to approve what we had. but planning for the future is usually our downfall. So, for 100,000, like you said, it's, it is what it is. We get our ground there, and if we ever use it, we use it. If we don't, we don't. So it does, either way is fine with me. I mean, I know we need to get it though. We need to get this done before spring.
Yeah, we need to
Got to get done.
You don't
Okay.
care because you'll be in Arizona.
All right, well, would somebody like to make a motion, and let's go ahead and move this forward? We still have quite an agenda to get through. We all agree we need the storage for the summer. So I think it's a great thing.
I would move.
Oh, go ahead, John.
Okay. I say I'd make a motion to approve the contract number 17061 to the water treatment system upgrade, including the addition of $100,000 to upgrade the foundation so it will be expandable in the future up to 3 million gallons.
I'll support that.
Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Everybody know what we're doing?
Yep.
All right.
I have a question. Is
Go
that
ahead.
going to be a not to exceed amount, or is that?
Yeah, not to exceed. Would you mind adding that, John? Not to exceed the 100?
That's fine. Not to exceed 100,000.
I'll agree to second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Could you call this by roll, please, Kelly?
Sure. John Hicks,
Yes.
Sean O'Neill,
Yes.
Christopher Enlow,
Yes.
John Dolan,
Yes.
Michelle Cash,
Yes.
Lisa Blades,
Yes.
Patricia Carconi.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, everyone. I think this is a big improvement to our system. It's going to be wonderful.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you. Have a good night. Good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to C. This is the resolution 2020 establishing an industrial development district number 14. And Tina, you want to open that up, please?
Yes, let me go ahead and launch my video. There we go. I have the right one. Hold on a second. Oh, here it is. Okay, thank you. Yes, this evening you have before you a resolution 2020-14, and it is in regards to the establishment of the Industrial Development District number 14. So again, just giving a little bit of background, we mentioned a little earlier in the public hearing, but establishing an industrial development district is the first stage of a two-stage process in considering an abatement for real property taxes. The second stage involves a decision regarding the application and length of abatement, which will be our next item on the agenda. The Act provides for two methods for requesting an IDD be established. One is a written request by the property owner, and the other administration by a local government unit. In this case, the township clerk received a letter dated June 18th, 2020 from NLB Corporation requesting an IDD be established by the township to include a single parcel of land located at 51071 Grand River Avenue on the south side of Grand River, west of Napier Road, zoned I-1 light industrial. The parcel number is 21-12451-016. And you can see here in the picture where it is situated. This is Napier Road, and this is Grand River. It must be understood if the township board does not intend to grant a request for a tax abatement of real property tax, then it should take into consideration not to take action to establish an industrial development district. On the flip side, if the board establishes the district, it should be prepared to consider approval for a request of a tax abatement and set that term. Right now before you then this evening is consideration for 2020-14, establishing an industrial development district number 14. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Tina? Understand everything? Okay, if everyone agrees with this district, motion be in order to approve the resolution.
This is Michelle Cash. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution establishing Industrial Development District number 14, resolution number 2020-14.
I'll support that, Patricia Carconi.
Okay, we have a motion and it's supported. Any further discussion on this issue here? All right, Kelly, could you please call this by roll?
Sure. John Dolan,
Yes.
Lisa Blades,
Yes.
John Hicks,
Yes.
Patricia Carconi,
Yes.
Sean O'Neill,
Yes.
Christopher Enlow,
Yes.
Michelle Cash.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to D, and that's the consideration for the request for the tax abatement for NLB Corp. And Tina, you want to go ahead and start this out, or is this?
Sure.
Okay.
So tonight before you is consideration for approval of Resolution 2020-15, authorizing application from NLB Corp. For an industrial facilities tax exemption for 170,000 square foot facility to be located at 51701 Grand River, and with a related letter of agreement, which also would be attached to this approval. Just for some background, LLB Corporation is located currently at 29830 Beck Road in Wixom, Michigan. NLB Corp is a leader of water jet productivity, building high pressure water jet systems for cleaning service. They have filed an application for an industrial facilities tax exemption for real property to be located at 51701 Grand River. The parcel of land is situated within an industrial development district 14 that was established earlier in the meeting this evening. The total real property improvement investment is 14.5 million and consists of a proposed 170,000 above grade square foot building to be used as its world headquarters and manufacturing and warehouse facility. Here they'll design, engineer, manufacture, which would include assembly, fabrication, paint, test, and warehouse, and ship their pumps worldwide. The project proposed in this application would be eligible for consideration of an IFCE under the provisions of the township's tax abatement policy and Public Act 198 of 1974 as amended and as it is identified as a new facility. Because this is a new location, the applicant in this project would result in 170 jobs being retained and expected 32 new jobs being created. The salary of the workers at this location will include high-end salary employment at the range of $50,000 to over $100,000. Before I go on to this next area, I do want to bring to your attention that we did have a miscalculation in the tax abatement scorecard. So I'm posting up here in front of you to kind of give you an idea what has happened. And what happened was we inadvertently, under item number 5, where it shows the quality of the new jobs being calculated. Initially, we had only included the new jobs and not the retained jobs that were going to be coming to our community. And so instead of 28 jobs under 5B, that number actually jumps to 179. And you can see that that significantly changes the point system. Also under 1C, for those jobs that are over $100,000 in salary, it jumps from 4 employees to 23 employees times the 5 points, giving them that point system. And so initially in my memo, I had made a recommendation of 6 to 8 years because their total had come to 329, which would have put them in the 300 to 399 range. But you can see with the addition of those retained jobs, it does significantly increase the number of points, which then puts them into the 10 to 12 year range. So with that in mind, when we get down here to the recommendation, I just wanted to help you understand why we're recommending 10 to 12 years versus the 6 to 8 years. So the additional factors that the township board should understand is that a complete tax analysis has been provided in your packet showing the impact of the abatement over a term of 1 to 12 years. So you can get an understanding of what that looks like for each year. Consistency with township and Oakland County development objectives. This project is consistent with Oakland County's emerging sector strategy adopted by the township And based on the scorecard, the applicant is classified in 6 of the 10 emerging sectors. Is there a synergy of investment? Granting this request would result in the increase in the tax base, bringing economic benefits to the township and positively impacting nearby retail, restaurant, and other service-oriented businesses. The applicant does show owning of the real property of this facility. Also, to the best of our staff's knowledge, we are not seeing any delinquent taxes owed by the applicant within the Charter Township of Lyon. And also the applicant does not have any other abatements within the Township of Lyon. They are requesting a 12-year abatement and had indicated that they are willing to sign the township's letter of agreement. Based on the review of the application, the applicant does qualify for 10 to 12 years abatement with the term of the abatement beginning in 2021 and ending in the number of years the Township Board determines. So this evening, the recommendation is to approve Resolution 2020-15, authorizing application of the NLB Corporation. And I do want to state that the applicant does have representatives online with us this evening and would like to make a few comments and answer any questions that you may have. So I'm going to turn this over. I don't know if it's going to Denny or Drew, but if you want to step in, this would be the time.
I'll bring them up right now. As soon as I find them again.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Denny's going to kick it off.
Yep. Hi, this is Denny. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
I'm not sure. I cannot start my video, Ken, but that's, oh, there we go.
There we go.
Hi,
Thank
everyone. You. Thanks for having us again. I have a brief presentation. I'm going to hand it over to Drew to start. I'm the CFO of NLB. We had Patty and Michelle at our facility a couple weeks ago to do a plant tour. And then we went to the planning subcommittee last week for approvals. We are currently space limited in our facility in Wixom, and it's also a leased facility. The lease ends in January of 2022. So we're looking to own our new world headquarters for our new permanent home. And that's kind of the reason behind some of the timing. I will let Drew tell us a little bit about the company and the project, and then he'll hand it back to me to wrap up. So Drew, once you can see my screen, you can go ahead and kick off.
All set. Thank you. Hi, I'm Drew Waltenbaugh, the CEO and president at NLB. Sorry I haven't met some of you already. I think we've missed on our paths, but want to tell you it's been a very impressive meeting. We thank you appreciate you inviting us to your meeting tonight. I'll try to keep this somewhat brief. We're going to go through a number of slides. I'll tell you a little bit about the company and what we're about, and then we'll go through the project that we've got, and then Denny will wrap up at the end. Go ahead, Denny, flip us up. So NLB was founded in 1971. So in 2021 will be our 50-year anniversary. So we get to celebrate in the new building in Lyon Township. We're looking forward to that. It was founded by Forrest Shook, who has retired about 5 or 6 years ago, and I took over the CEO position of the company about 8 years ago. Okay. We develop, we produce a lot of high pressure water jetting equipment. So it's interesting listening to your discussion on water. We actually have at the Beck Road facility been using industrial wells and put 6 or 7 million gallons worth of water through the wells a year. So the kind of numbers you were talking about weren't too staggering to me. We're looking at a reclamation system for this building, but the type of products we build go into industrial cleaning and also aquaculture. The unit at the bottom of the screen, the silver unit is something that's used at fish farming for cleaning. So we have a little bit of a breadth of what we do in our market. Okay. Industrial cleaning is a big part of what we do. These two items on here show a tube bundle cleaner for cleaning bundles for refineries and chemical plants. The truck that you see in the background is used for cleaning rubber off of runways and taking stripe off of road surfaces. So again, a lot of things with high pressure water, and then we are an application specialist is what we basically work on. The workspace we've got right now is about 100,000 square feet. We had to move our rental portion of our facility to a small branch in Novi a number of years back because we're out of room. We've become so space constrained now that we are starting to really constrain our growth. And that's the main reason for this project. We have, in addition to the headquarters in Michigan, we have 8 facilities around the U.S. that are basically there to service rental branches. We also have a branch currently in Warsaw in Poland that actually was moved up to Gdynia up on the Baltic about a year ago. And that facility is probably not going to stay open long term. But nonetheless, we have a lot of breadth around the world too. We ship to about 45 countries worldwide. Capabilities, we start out at about 2,000 PSI. So a pressure washer that you might use to clean your deck is typically maybe around 3,000 PSI. And we go up to 40,000 PSI, which will strip paint off the side of bridges or off the road, as we talked about. We are a leader in creating automation for our customers to try to promote safety, where we are making hands-free type systems so that people don't have to be as close to the energy source. And that's a big part of what our customers are looking for now, because they have to make sure that their people are kept safe. We've created a lot of solutions through the years. You know, there's just a few of them that we've named there. Tube and bundle cleaning is a big part of what we do. Surface preparation, removing paint, hydro demolition so we can break concrete with high pressure water. There are many, many different types of applications that we're involved in. As I mentioned, we have rental facilities. This facility will have a small portion of it that will be dedicated to rental equipment. We have about 250 to 300 pieces of equipment that we rent throughout the United States, which allows our customer base to expand their business incrementally or use it just on a short-term basis. And there's some of the equipment that we have in rental. Our field support, our real bread and butter on what we do besides the reliability of our products is to be able to provide exemplary customer service. And our support technicians go out into the field. So a lot of our people that we have, even our what would be considered blue collar people, are really semi-skilled to skilled type people, which is why our pay rates are higher. We believe in training. Again, you know, the stuff that we do can be dangerous if it's not handled properly. So we do a tremendous amount of training, both internally and with our customer base. Mentioned service, and we have knowledgeable customer service staff as well. So, you know, right before I go into the building project, just a quick point here. We had a lot of discussion with our owner, and our owner is in Reggio Emilia, Italy. They own about 116 companies. The name of the company is Interpump Group, SPA. Interpump has always bought companies that were healthy and kept them healthy and basically left them alone. So we have a lot of autonomy in both management and in what we do. They wanted us to have a new footprint of a building. Specifically, they did ask us to look at a number of different areas. We looked at, from their viewpoint, wanted to look at Tulsa, Oklahoma, wanted to look at Muncie, Indiana, a number of places where some of our sister companies are. But as you'll see in a moment, it's critically important that our business has a technical aspect that's not that easy to learn. And it was critically important that we stayed close to the area that we're at currently, which is why we selected the site we have. And they understood that, and they clearly are now in full support of it. Okay, Denny. This is, Brevar's done an excellent job for us and put together some great renderings of what the building will look like. We're really excited because it's a really professional looking headquarters. Our growth has been good, but we know that we have had trouble getting up to that elusive $100 million mark and getting over it. And a big part of that has just been space constrained. We had the last 2 winters, we've actually had people having to work sometimes outside on equipment that was being built because we've just run out of room in the interior of the building, which is not comfortable. When we did the work on where we were looking for facilities, we took the opportunity to do an employee density map to see where people lived. And ironically, the map told us that from where we are on Beck Road, we should probably move about 3 to 4 miles west. And the property that we've selected is about 3 miles west. It's wasn't exactly planned perfectly, but it certainly has worked out very well. So we know that we want to stay close to where our employee base population is. And as you can see, when you look west of us over towards the Howell and Fowlerville area, with the heavy green area that we have there, we have a lot of people that come from that direction. So this will actually be better for them. We have about 170 jobs right now that we're relocating to the township, and we're excited to bring those people along. And we'll have about 32 jobs we're going to add over the next 3 to 4 years, which will all be good positions because mostly technical skills, engineering, quality, and IT folks. Here you can see the project, what we've done with land and total building fees and permits, and what we're looking at. That property is just about 22 acres. We've situated the building so that we have 171,000 square feet now, and a fairly easy way to increase it by about another 34,000 square feet to the rear. Here's the timeline of the build, which is one of the reasons that we're being a little pushy. We're trying to get things done somewhat quickly because we know we're under some time pressures. As Denny mentioned, we're under a lease with actually with our former founder who owns the building currently. That lease ends in January 2022, so we want to get moving and break ground and try and get ourselves into the building by the end of September or certainly October of next year. We know some challenges that we have. I mentioned we use a lot of water. I think the 20 million gallons is maybe a little high on my estimate, but when I spoke to Matt Herhold, our Director of Research and Development, we know it's 6 or 7 million gallons currently at a minimum. We test a lot of our equipment in order to ensure that we're providing proper equipment that's going to be reliable to the field. We put 8 hours of minimum time on it for break-in every piece of equipment before it leaves our facility. And that requires us to run water through it. We're working on a water reclamation system, recirculation system that we are designing and working on now so that we can try and make sure we use that. But obviously we are going to be an additional user on your water system. The transitional production plan is another challenge that we see because we know we're going to have to look at occupancy and do some relocation of equipment while we do a sort of a transitional type function and move from one to the other before we can completely move. It's not like picking up a house and moving it. We're gonna have to move a little at a time. And then finally on project oversight, we hired P2M, a gentleman by the name of Bob Formasano, and he's been engaged in the project to help us on the project and moving so that we can make sure we continue to run our business and have somebody that can help us in oversight. And again, I mentioned Brevar's been great to work with, and they are our selection for the build and the land purchase we are working on now and trying to get closed into September. So that basically takes you very quickly through a 50-year NLB history. So I hope that gives you a little help in what we are doing. We're extremely excited to become a part of the township. Very happy to be looking at putting in a new building, something that's going to give us the kind of economy of scale that we've needed for quite some time. And I think Denny will take a few moments and cover a few things on tax abatement, and we'll answer any questions as we can.
Thank you, Drew. I think Tina did a great job giving the overview of the submission. I believe the scorecard, the updated calculation was 877 points. And we're very happy to be looking at Lyon Township. It was very interesting to listen to your team discuss planning for the future, because we kicked off this project really at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019, with that initial step as far as interviewing all the local teams, the management. A lot of people at our company have worked here 10, 20, 30, some 40 years. And so listening and talking to them and getting feedback of where the space was limited, when they had to work outside, what we needed, is really the driving, the ultimate design and functionality of the new building. And we're going from about 100 to 110,000 square feet to 170,000 square feet, with an option to expand, with options for 2 cold storage facilities down the road, because we'd like this to be a long-term permanent home. So I don't know that I need to go through any specifics, I guess, on the submission, since Tina covered them. I've got all the drawings and things we covered at the Planning Commission as backup as well. But I'm really excited about this project. I've been part of a few different builds in automotive, and those are much boxier and not as pretty. And I'm really, really happy with the look and feel of the way this Brevard project design has come out. And I think it's going to be a great new home for NLB. So what I'd like to do is, if there's any questions or specific items from the Planning Commission you'd like to cover, I can flip to those, or we can open up to questions regarding our project or our company.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that presentation. Basically here at Lion, we are very business friendly, and we love when we have beautiful companies like NLB come and want to join Lyon Township. So that's all good things. The tax abatement, in my opinion, is I'm very business oriented. I think it's very helpful to extend them out as much as we can. And I would like to go ahead and offer the 12 years. I'm good for the 12 years only because I know that your business will be here. You've been here 50 years. You're going to be here another 50 years. So I'm all for that. I would like to open this up to the trustees to give their opinion. I think we've all heard quite a bit about the project, and I think it's time to ask questions. Anyone like to start? Sean, you want to start? You good?
I think I'm good at the moment. Yeah, I appreciate the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, Chris, you want to add anything?
No, I guess the scorecard correction, it was 27 new jobs that was initially in our packet, and then the correction is the addition of retaining 170 jobs. That summarize that up.
Actually, it was 28 was the original number for the 50,000 to 100,000 range, and that jumped to 179. And for over 100,000, it went from 4 to 23. So in total, there'll be 202 jobs, which would include the 170 that are relocating, and then 32 additional new jobs.
Okay. So that puts them in the 10 to 12 range.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I agree with Supervisor Dolan on it. Yeah, we're happy to have these kinds of investments in our community. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah.
Lisa?
I just have some questions. Maybe some of these are more geared toward Tina, or maybe Patty could help too. I had been looking at the some of the information, and I came across an item regarding the 1% administrative fee that can be added to an industrial facility tax roll. And I was first of all curious about what really is this fee, and do we intend to collect that?
Can I answer that?
Yes, please.
Well, you can add a 1% admin fee for collecting taxes, but really it's our statutory duty, Lisa. So I'm just going to tell you, I've never been in favor of it. Even when times were dark, why would we collect a 1% on our businesses and our residents and even our industrial facility abatements? We already do that. That's our job. That's my job. That's my primary statutory job, is to collect taxes. I cannot in good conscience add another 1% to people or businesses when it's already what I'm supposed to do. So that's what it is. It's actually a fee to collect the taxes that we already are governed to do. So
that's probably the best explanation for me, because I didn't understand why we would have an administrative fee. So I appreciate that. I just need clarification. So I'm completely fine with not collecting that. I didn't really understand why they would.
That's a great question, though.
Well, thank you. I tried to make you happy with that one. One of the other things really are more towards some gaps, I think, in the township, the recommendation letter. I see that one of the requirements for a tax abatement on the application criteria is that they'll employ community residents. And I saw the map. I just didn't know, like, what is the plan? I know it's 32 new jobs are supposed to be created. And I know you clicked through that map relatively quickly as to where your employees currently are. But as one of the application criteria, I just didn't know what it is that, what is your plan to employ the community residents?
Well, clearly we want to employ anybody from the community first. That's our first goal. Our bigger issue sometimes becomes whether or not they're going to have the proper skill sets. But clearly we usually have a sign out. I don't know if we'll exactly how we'll cover that. We might have an electronic sign, but for employment, that we have a lot of walk-ins for people that walk in and basically put their application right in on site. So. Yeah, I mean, we're Michiganders, and at this point in time, we will be Lyon Township people, and if we can support the people from the community, that's first and foremost.
Okay, so essentially, that's your focus, is that you want to get Lyon Township, but more importantly, have the skill set.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, and then one of the other questions dealt with, or one of the other criteria on the application, and I didn't see a reference to this. That you needed to demonstrate that you would locate, that you would not locate here without this abatement. And so I don't know if that's a question so much for you or if that's a question so much for Tina, but I didn't see that item addressed.
Yeah, so one of the issues that was brought forth to us initially was that this particular applicant was looking to locate in other communities. So you had heard Drew mention Tulsa, Oklahoma, and also the Indiana. And I believe the MEDC was also contacted because whenever there's an opportunity for a Michigan company to consider a location outside of the Michigan area, they do often get involved. And so this is part of an attraction tool that is used to convince the applicant to take a stronger consideration in our community. Not all communities offer tax abatements. The fact that we do offer them and we do have a scorecard that makes it available for companies of all different sizes to take advantage of it is an attraction tool that is used.
Okay, I mean, I understand that the option was for Tulsa or for Muncie, and that you had desired to come here over those two locations. I just wanted to see if there was somewhere in the committee recommendation to address that item in the application criteria. And then the last item, I'm sure that you'll be able to answer this, the contributions that would be made to the communities, not necessarily the employees, which I do like a lot of what you said in your narrative, but that's another item that I did not notice in the application or in the recommendation letter, just the contributions that were made to communities that you're already in. And
yeah, we're a very good corporate citizen. You know, we adopted the road on Beck Road, you know, so that we could go out and do cleaning. We'll certainly do fundraisers. We've supported the schools at Christmas time. We've been we put a tree up and we collect information so that we can get gifts for kids, underprivileged children, and take stuff out. There's a tremendous number of things that we do to help be good corporate citizens. And our corporate company in Italy actually scores us on how well we do in corporate governance and corporate citizenship, as well as our green philosophy. So I think you'll see that we're going to be good neighbors and good friends.
Well, I'm really impressed with those answers, and I appreciate that, because it does seem like you would be an excellent fit for us. I just wanted to get a couple gaps filled in. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And you know, I'm going to speak for our businesses on Grand River. They're the most charitable businesses that I've ever seen. And I mean, I don't know of any of them that don't pop to the plate. And I know very well that this company would be the same. I mean, Lion's a great place to be, you know, and we're all happy to be here. Michelle, you want to add anything? You got anything to add?
Well, I got lucky enough to be able to go take a tour of the premises that they're now on. And yes, they have certainly outgrown their facility. And we're looking at the same thing at Township Hall. So we feel your pain, and just so happy to have you. If you can get here to Lyon as fast as you can, we'd love to have you. And I hope for another 50 to 100 years would be great. So really enjoyed the tour, and really nice to meet Denny. Sorry, Drew, you weren't there. We knew you were busy, but it was nice to take the tour. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And thank you for that very nice comment. We're looking forward to it as well.
Okay.
Patty, anything to add?
Yeah, I want to just mention that I agree with Michelle. Denny was a great host to us. We asked a lot of questions, and we happened to see a little bulletin board that your employees had when we were going through. And this is what kind of warmed our hearts, that they had this nice bulletin board out in their warehouse of things to cheer people up during COVID. And they had some of the funniest photos. It made us laugh like crazy. So you can just tell that they are a family, like we're a family. And I want to remind everybody, they're kind of similar to Exotic, which we granted the 12 years. And my philosophy always is, you know, they could pick anywhere in the whole world, and they picked Lyon. They picked us. So I'm the same way with Michelle. Get here as soon as you can. We'll help you as much as we can. You have great leadership here, and even with the new board, you know, we'll miss John, but we're going to get Robert in December, and you have a great working group here. And I think we all say we're at your service, as we should be.
Great.
Well,
thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
John? Didn't mean to leave you at the end, but there you are.
For me, this is a very easy decision. Getting a building like this, and even at 50%, it's more tax than we're getting now on that property. So it's just a super win for us.
Yep.
I think it's great, and I 100% behind it.
Thank you, John. I agree with that. So that being said, it sounds like we're all on the same page. A motion be in order to go ahead and, you know what, we did have a caller that was wanting to talk about this. Ken, is she still on the line?
Now let's take a look. So we do have a couple callers. Callers, if you would like to speak, please press *9 on your keypad, and that will alert us that you would like to speak. Again, that feature is *9 on your keypad. Not seeing any hands raised at this time, Mr. Dolan.
Okay. There was a lady on there that wanted to talk, and I wanted to give her the opportunity. Seeing that there's no one online, a motion would be in order. Would somebody like to make that motion?
I'd like to make that motion. I like to move resolution 2020-15, the resolution approving the application of the NLB Corporation for Industrial Facilities Tax Exemption Certification in the amount of 12 years at 50%.
I will second that.
All right, we have a motion.
Michelle Cash.
Let's go ahead and call this by roll, please, Kelly.
Sure. Michelle Cash,
Yes.
Sean O'Neill,
Yes.
Lisa Blades,
Yes.
Patricia Carconi,
Yes.
John Dolan,
Yes.
Christopher Enlow,
Yes.
John Hicks.
Yes.
All right. Well, welcome to the community.
Great. Thank you guys so much. We're
Thank
excited.
you very much.
Thank you.
We're excited. Can't wait.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See
All
ya.
right. Take care.
All right. We're going to move on to the line crossing PD amendment, watermark residential final review. Brian?
Thanks, John. I'm going to be fairly quick. I know Garrett is as well, and he's got probably a prettier picture to show you, but I just popped up the plan for Watermark. This is substantially the same that you saw at the preliminary. And Watermark has really worked to clean up some of the odds and ends that that were requested by the board. It's the same 19 building complex, 304 units, associated parking and a clubhouse, a leasing office, and then various amenities in some of the courtyards that you see. At their July 13th Planning Commission meeting, as Patty had alluded to, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the final PD stage. And so I just have a few notes that I'd like to share with you. The first of which is, if you recall, along the eastern property line, along Tractor Supply's shared property line, there was a sidewalk going up to the park. That has been removed based on our discussion with the board. In its place is an access easement for the future, which would allow a sidewalk to be constructed between Lion Center Drive and Atchison Park. If you recall, part of the Republic's operation requires use of a driveway on the park property that we all determined was not a priority or not a good decision to encourage pedestrian traffic across that. So if in the future that changes, the plans have been prepared to include that. We now have more detail about the courtyards. There's some fire pits. We have a layout of the pool. We have a lot more detail on pedestrian crossings within the site. So ultimately, they are building upon the plans that you've seen before. Landscape plan was modified slightly. However, they still exceed our planting requirements. So we have no concerns with that. One thing that you'll note is from the preliminary stage, we were considering both this and the Zott Auto amendments to the line crossing PD together. Watermark has gotten to the final stage a bit quicker, and so we are separating those, or the applicants are separating those. So as of the writing of the review that's in your packet, the PD agreement documents were being updated to separate out the elements that were specific to this project. So I know Carol's office and Lisa have been reviewing all of the PD documents. Leslie has been reviewing the exhibits. All of those are prepared. And so some of the elements that were in an earlier version of the PD agreement, specifically regarding the sidewalk on the south side of Lion Center Drive, that will not be included in the agreement for this amendment, the Watermark amendment. We will include that those conditions in the Zott Auto agreement. So, but those things have been separated and worked out, and I believe that that Lisa has approved the agreement, and maybe Carol, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that item, but
yes, that's correct.
Okay.
She's worked with the developer and the agreements in final form.
Yeah, I think they're in good shape. So, so ultimately, all of the concerns that we've heard from the township board in the past and the planning commission have been addressed. This is moving along in the direction that we've been discussing the whole way, and we feel that it would be appropriate at this point in time for the board to approve the final phase of this plan development amendment. As a zoning change, this would be done in 2 readings. So this would be a first reading tonight. It'd be a second reading at your September meeting. Any specific questions for me at this time?
Okay, any questions for Brian? Leslie, do you have anything you want to add to?
The only thing I'd like to add is that we would request that the gateway treatments that are part of this PD amendment to be included on the final plans. And that's at the roundabout. That's basically the low-level signage that would help pedestrians cross at the roundabout. And so we would just request they be on the final plans prior to the agreement being recorded. And that's really it.
Okay. Any questions for Leslie? All right, if the applicant's here, would you like to go ahead and give us what you got?
Yep, let me go ahead and share my screen here. Let me know when you guys are able to see my screen.
We can see it.
Awesome. So, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Over the past few months, like Brian said, we've gotten to work on the engineering design of the site, and we've been working with township staff and engineering. And so, really quick, I know I mentioned this at the previous planning commission meeting, but I wanted to reiterate that to date, Lyon Township staff and engineering has been great to work with. They've been very communicative. It's been easy and seamless. And so just want to say that we greatly appreciate the efforts from Lyon Township to help us provide the best project that we possibly can. So just a note there. So as a quick refresher here, this was the plan that we had brought forth to the board last time. And the biggest change prior to this was the entrance location here at the southeast corner. It initially had been in between these two buildings, but due to some traffic stacking concerns, we had moved that to the north to mitigate those problems. Additionally, we had moved these southwestern buildings here to be further away from the western homes. And so here is the pretty picture that Brian was talking about. This is the new plan. It's got a little bit more color on it, a little bit more detail. The courtyard areas are worked out a bit more, but more or less this design is the exact same thing that you guys had seen prior. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to the engineering plan. That's got a little bit more detail on it to walk through some of the changes specifically. Brian had already mentioned these, but I'll go through them again from my standpoint. So first and foremost, a 10-foot sidewalk easement has been provided at the northeastern corner of the site for potential future connection up to the Republic landfill to the north and the park to the north. So that's there, but it is not currently going to be a sidewalk. It'll be a placeholder for that. Next, the courtyard amenity areas are now shown in a bit more detail. The courtyard areas are shown in a bit more detail. These will feature fire pits, seating areas. They will be heavily landscaped and they'll look really nice. I'll actually switch back to the pretty picture here just to zoom in. There actually is quite a bit of detail within this picture. So just to give you guys a quick look at that. Additionally, the pool and clubhouse area to the south has been detailed up. Now we're showing the extra cabanas, the grills, the fire pits, the landscaping, the hot tubs, and all the extra details around with that area. And we really refined what we want to do with these areas. So I'm going to go back to the engineering plan. The sidewalks throughout the site have been professionally designed by a landscape architect to have better pedestrian flow and ADA across the entire site. And then lastly, a connection to the southwestern sidewalk network is now shown down here. So this will connect to the existing sidewalk that is currently along Grand River. This will lead west to the municipal building, which should get you to Atchison Park. And so next, I'm going to go ahead and show one of the clubhouse elevations as we have bent the clubhouse to better align with the roadway and the new roadway that was placed here due to traffic concerns. So that new bent clubhouse should look a little bit like this. It's got this extra stone facade in the center to allow for the leasing office and the office for our employees to be located along our center street. And so lastly, I'll talk a little bit about the gateway treatment that Leslie had mentioned. So we have been working with a traffic engineer and we are prepared to provide 32 signs to aid in the safety of pedestrian crossing at the crosswalk. So as you can see here, where all the blue locations are, there will be both these small signs as well as these W11-2 signs to help aid in the safety there. And so with that, that is all of the major changes to the plan. I'd be happy to take any questions or comments that you guys have.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's go ahead and open the conversation. Anyone have any questions for the applicant? Okay. Sean?
I don't have a whole lot. I mean, it's a nice product, and my concerns are the same as last time we saw. There's just too much of it, and so that's what I struggle with. But certainly, I appreciate their efforts in trying to make it a nicer product and address most of the concerns. Just the density is the only one still hanging out there. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Okay. Well, I think it's a beautiful project. I think that you guys have went above and beyond everything we've asked of you. I think that I don't know how you could get it much nicer. I think it's a great asset to the community, so I'm 100% forward to put it to the first reading. Would anyone else like to talk about it, or did we want to make a motion to move this forward?
I'm good to make a motion if that's what
Yeah, I don't
you'd
hear
like,
anybody
if nobody
talk.
else wants to speak.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve, let me see, AP-51, Lion Crossing PD Amendment, Watermark Residential, as the first reading for the final review.
I'll second that. John Hicks.
We have a motion and a support. Is there any further conversation? Okay, Kelly, please call it by roll.
Michelle Cash,
Yes.
Sean O'Neill,
No.
John Hicks,
Yes.
Christopher Enlow,
No.
John Dolan,
Yes.
Patricia Carconi,
Yes.
Lisa Blades.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You guys, appreciate it. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the proposal to replace Lyon Township full-time firefighter. Chief?
Okay. Hello again. So back in late 2019, we hired our first 6 career 24-hour firefighters. One of those has decided to move on to another department, leaving a vacancy. We did have a eligibility list, and we have one person remaining on that eligibility list, and he is Tyler Bist, who is a current paid on-call firefighter for our department, and he has been with us since 2018, and he stepped up during the whole COVID few months here, and has been pretty reliable. And I'd like to bring him on as a full-time firefighter to replace our departing firefighter. So I don't anticipate any change in budget or minimal change in budget. I've got the numbers for his health and dental for the remaining few months of the year. I guess my only question would be, I did have it retro to July 31st so that he could qualify for healthcare sooner, but that's a board decision. So that would be my request.
Okay. Any questions for Chief? Okay.
I have none.
No, John, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Sean. You have some questions?
No, I was actually just going to make a motion to approve the chief's request to bring on firefighter Bist full-time and effective July 31st.
Okay.
But I know
I'll
John
second that. So John Hicks can speak. What did you need, John?
John, did you want to say anything?
I'm all set.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a support. Would you please call this by roll? Kelly?
Patricia Carconi,
Yes.
Lisa Blades,
Yes.
John Dolan,
Yes.
Christopher Enlow,
Yes.
Michelle Cash,
Yes.
Sean O'Neill,
Yes.
John Hicks.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to the master plan update, and I think that we all know that we have to do this pretty quick. we've been kind of shy. It's a little bit overdue, I think. So Brian, you want to explain what you got going on here?
Sure. Thank you, John. You're right. We are a little bit overdue, although we've last winter we did issue our notice of intent to plan, which is the state planning enabling acts kind of kickoff, notifying our adjacent neighbors that we're going to be doing this. We've been doing some of the background work when we've had down office hours, existing land use inventory, and we've started on some of our background demographics things. So we've been kind of preparing for this as we've been going and as we've had time this year. But you're right. This is a requirement to at least review a plan every 5 years or initiate a review every 5 years of your master plan. It's our long range vision for the township in terms of land use. One of the things that we're looking at here is a pretty substantial update. I think a lot of the background and some of the descriptions of our industrial and residential and commercial districts remains valid, but there are pieces that we really need to look at, especially regarding our transitions between land uses. It's where we've gotten into some trouble in recent times. You know, the interplay between our industrial districts and our residential districts, things like that. So those are the things that we want to take a look at as we're going through this process. And I've scoped out this process a little bit different than normal. And you'll see in our letter that I've got 4 phases scoped out. The first would be our initiation and our industrial corridor plan studies. Then we would look at all of our residential districts and specific locations that we can, and then move on to our commercial and mixed use districts. Finally, our 4th phase would be what I'm going to call them our miscellaneous section, although some of these pieces are just as vitally important, but it'd be where we would address any transportation needs or parks and recreation needs, infrastructure, and most importantly, our future land use plan, which helps dictate any zoning changes that we would do in the future. So the reason that I've phased this out this way is so we have some options in the adoption process. I think it's important to address some of the shortcomings in particular in our industrial district right now, and in the very near future, our residential districts. And so I want to give us the option to adopt some of these as what I'll call a sub-area plan, so that we can put on the books in a formal capacity what the township's position is on our industrial districts, on our residential districts, and on our commercial districts. And if we feel like it becomes less of a priority for us, we can always slow down and adopt these as a whole, but I want to prepare us to adopt faster if we can for some of these priority sections. So I do want to work in public engagement, and we would do that in the form of a website for the plan that will have our working documents in terms of our land use plans, some of the goals and objectives for each one of our phases. We'll have some survey engagement associated with this as well. So that's how we intend to gain some of the public feedback that we can pull, especially given our relatively limited in-person engagement that we can do right now. So that's how we intend to keep the public up to date as to the progress that we're making and get them to work with us on the plan.
Okay. So you have a proposal here to update the master plan. Any questions for Brian?
Hey, John, this is not in our packet.
It's not?
I didn't see anything. I don't know if it was a discussion, but I don't have the proposal.
Yeah, I thought it was discussion only tonight because there's nothing in the packet.
I mean, and maybe you could share your screen, Brian, if you have it and you do want to go through it, or?
Yeah, do you have it?
Well, I
Brian?
have it.
I have it too. Huh.
You have it electronically, or you have a hard copy?
I have a hard copy.
Oh, it's not in the, it's not even in the packet.
Oh, who's,
Online either.
Oh, I see that as well. We're missing H. Well, can everybody?
I mean, is this something that we want to, redo and bring it back next month? Or does anyone have any, worries about how it's going to be done? I think it was a not to exceed 25,000 is what I see here. Is that what you have?
Yeah, I don't think, if we're going through like a robust rewrite with sub-area plans, I don't think that's, I don't think that's a bad price at all.
So, I mean, that's what he's got, not to exceed 25,000 for the update. I mean,
I thought it was pretty reasonable myself, but I was kind of waiting for Sean because that's what you do for a living. So I thought you'd be a good.
Well, I was listening as he explained it without, I was envisioning the scope, but I didn't see it. And
quite a few pages.
I won't tell you what I guessed it would be, but it was higher than 25,000. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, are you guys comfortable moving this forward for that?
What's your pleasure? Because we seen it. So
I mean, I don't, if we're doing a rewrite, I mean, Brian hit on some key things that I had some concerns about, the transitions, and I like the idea of a sub-area plan. So we're getting very detailed and, in our future land use goals. I mean, we have had some issues with that, and I think this is a step in that direction. And I know, obviously, the Planning Commission is going to dig in with the board, and the Planning Commission is going to dig in with McKenna on this, but I'm sure that we'll, have an opportunity to weigh in sooner rather than later as well. So I'm not uncomfortable with this. It seems reasonable to me. 12-month timeline, Brian, you think it's going to take an entire year though? That seems like a long time.
It is a long time. I don't want to put us in a position where I'm trying to rush through individual sections if we can't. So I'm looking at that 12-month timeline as the entire, all 4 phases are completed at that point in time. I don't think when you look at it that maybe 3 months is unreasonable to do some of the background work while we're doing industrial, and 3 months specifically for residential. So when you start breaking it down like that, I'm not necessarily running through each of those phases concurrently.
So the one important piece that every community tries to gather, that every community really struggles with, is the community input portion. I mean, we can't even get 1% of people to show up, but when something's going on in their backyard, they're lining up out the front door. So, and I say that with all seriousness. I mean, we need to try to figure out, and this is a ages long question of how do you engage the public? How do you bring them in? And, now is not the greatest time to be, doing something like this. And I'm not saying for us, or I'm just saying for any community that would be kind of endeavoring to update their master plan and collect public input, because, how do you effectively do it? And I guess when I first asked the question about the timing, I guess as soon as you started to answer, Brian, I thought, the public input portion could take quite a while. We can't gather a room full of people the way we've always been accustomed to doing it. So I guess that's going to be one of the bigger challenges. We want to really elicit public response and public input. So this is a plan that people feel that, they've had some say in and can take some ownership in. It's very hard for the 7 of us or the 7 planning commissioners to plan for over 20,000 people. It's a difficult thing, so we do need their input. So I'll get off my soapbox.
Okay. Anyone else want to ask any questions, or do you feel comfortable moving this forward? Lisa?
I think that I feel comfortable with it, with moving it forward. I do think that the price seems very reasonable, and I do think that some creative thinking on community input is going to be needed in this, just given the situation and the times. But I would agree with Sean on that. It's a struggle on trying to get people to be able to provide their input in normal times, let alone now trying to manage that given our restrictions. So if anybody's got any ideas on how to achieve that, I'd be incredibly happy to hear some creative solutions.
Okay. Chris, you comfortable moving it forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to get going. I know 12 months is probably a little longer than I'd like. I was thinking more about nine months or so, but honestly, if it takes a little longer to do it right, that's probably the better way to go. And just to have ample opportunity for people to give their input, I mean, like the Parks group Parks Advisory Board is doing a Survey Monkey. I mean, there's those aspects. You can actually set up a web page for the draft master plan, and people can comment right on it. I mean, there's definitely creative ways to do it to hopefully engage people and get their input. And I know McKenna has those types of resources at their hands. So yeah, it's
okay. John, you comfortable moving it forward tonight? Everything good?
Yes, I am. I don't know if anyone here was aware of the charrette that we had several years ago, other than Patty and Michelle, but they got a fairly decent turnout for that. But the idea was, if you want a public hearing, you have it at a time without the other meeting. Just talk about what you want to talk about, and set a time in the evening, or you could try it in the afternoon or evening on 2 different days. But if the public input is that important for a particular section, then I think you can't expect to do it at a meeting.
Okay. Well, I think Patty and Michelle, are you on board moving forward?
Yes, and I apologize for Brian not getting that on. We were so busy with election. We thought we had everything there. I am so sorry. We were loading stuff Friday
Michelle,
night at 11 p.m.
You weren't
I'm
just laying
sorry.
around eating bonbons on your couch?
Oh my gosh,
for the
I
last
looked
week?
at this
Jeez.
3 times and I never even saw that I had a folder missing. So I am very sorry.
No,
I saw it on the agenda and didn't even think to look on the online packet. So
I know, it's okay. And we made copies and everything, and that's as far as it went. So again, I apologize. And I mean, I know it's going to be hard to try to get this, like you said, to the public, but Chris sounded like he has some creative ways that he's seen this done. And then I know you and at McKenna will probably have the same way to do it. I did attend the charrette for the DDA too at that time. And we did, it seemed like an okay turnout, but I mean, for as many people as we have, people don't take the time out of their busy schedule to really come. And it might just be that they don't understand it. I don't know. So hopefully there'll be some good online tools to engage people, and maybe we can get some more people involved.
Hey, Brian, I don't know if you remember, but at that charrette, and I don't know if you were at McKenna at the time, but they had somebody like actually sketching the New Hudson area, the downtown area, while everything was going on. It was really neat. It was well done.
We are concurrently preparing a proposal for the DDA that I think will get at what you're talking about, Chris, having some opportunities to compare and contrast some design concepts and things like that for probably New Hudson specifically. So, one of the things that we've done kind of conceptually is let the DDA focus on some of the downtown vision, and we'll focus on the broader township during the master plan. But to your point, a lot of that kind of visual representation we were saving for the DDA, their vision plan. Some of the tools are the same. You mentioned an interactive website, and we can use what I've got built into the budget right now is a tool that we've used in the city of Grosse Pointe, but it's a product called Social Pinpoint, and it's like an ideas wall. So you can comment on maps, and you can comment on a wall that other people can see, and we've got some oversight of what can be posted, right? So that we're not accidentally getting some inappropriate comments on there, but it's a way to at least give somebody a tool that they might be familiar with using, posting on a wall these days, or dropping points on a map, and trying to use that. So I've got a month scoped out in the project for that. It is a monthly subscription, so we could talk about if we want to run that for a little bit longer for this project. I guess I would come back to the board if we want to do that. But.
Okay, well, I think we're all on board, Brian, to get this thing moving. So I think, go ahead. Yep.
Everybody ready? I'll make a motion to approve the proposal to prepare an update to the Lyon Township Master Plan as outlined in the McKenna letter dated July 24th with an amount not to exceed $25,000.
I'll support that.
Who supported that? John?
No, that would be Lisa.
Lisa.
Oh, Lisa? Okay.
It sounds the same.
I beat you, Sean.
All right, we have a motion and support. Would you please call this by roll, Kelly?
John Hicks,
Yes.
John Dolan,
Yes.
Sean O'Neill,
Yes.
Lisa Blades,
Yes.
Patricia Carconi,
Yes.
Michelle Cash,
Yes.
Christopher Enlow.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. We'll get started on the master plan, Brian.
Thank you. I'm looking
Right.
forward to it.
Moving to the next consideration to adopt the Lyon Township purchasing policy. I know Carol's worked hard on this, and I was going to let Carol bring it to fruition here.
Okay. When,
Carol, you're going to read the whole thing to us, right?
oh, no. I discovered,
Chapter and verse.
I discovered that we don't have a purchasing policy. And there may have been one at some point, but
There was.
it can't be located anywhere. So I think it's important that you have one in place. So I put this together. Some of it may look familiar to you, Sean.
A little bit.
Some of it's similar to White Lakes, but I guess the biggest thing is I think it's a pretty straightforward policy. I've tried to, and again, like when you're getting into the specifics of the numbers, you know, for the purchasing schemes, those were sort of picked by me thinking about, you know, things that come up that need to be purchased. Those are not, they can be varied if they're if you have different thoughts on that. But I think it's critical that we get something into place so that everybody knows how to do things and it can operate more smoothly. And a lot of things you don't really want to have to bring everything to the township board for approval. You want to be able to operate day to day without doing that and clogging up your board agenda all the time. So that's the purpose of it. I hope you've had a chance to read it. I know this and the next agenda item were probably really great bedtime reading for all of you guys, right?
Well, John, I had a chance to start. I did not get a chance to get through the purchasing policy, but Carol, from what I have read so far, it looks really good. And I put my my editing glasses on and noticed a few things that I'd be happy to kind of redline and send your way.
Yep, that'd be great.
but I don't want to hang anything up on that. I don't know if, if anybody else had any comments, but it's just like commas here for clarification.
Yep. I know the whole English thing.
So I'd be happy to send them your way. I don't think anybody needs
That'd
to
be
hear
great.
that there's a missing comma on page 2. So.
Well, we got a chance to sit down with Carol, John, Patty, and I, because John had some concerns about some of it. So we did a lot of discussing with that. And then I got real busy. So John and Patty and Carol met again and went over all the changes and felt that it was really good. So I'm good to go with it also.
I only had questions related to some of the spending limits because some of them seemed high. And I know, but as far as the form of it and then like emergency procurement, it doesn't really have a limit. It just talks about emergency procurement. It seems like there should still be a limit for an emergency, especially if it's being made by someone who's not the supervisor. If we have a catastrophic failure of a pump at a sewer station and it's $75,000, then I don't want John to wait a month to get it fixed.
Right.
It's a $75,000 repair that's critical for health, safety, welfare. I would expect he would enact a provision of this that would allow him to expend $75,000. I think on a day-to-day basis, a $25,000 limit seems high for one person, and I think $5,000 seems high for a department head. Obviously they're spending money that's already in a budget, and generally the budget is broken out to different categories, so we kind of know where anticipated expenditures come. If John needs to buy a new lawnmower, he's going to say, hey, next year we need to buy a new lawnmower and it's going to be X number of dollars. And we kind of all know it's coming. So when the time comes, we've talked about it. We know what it's going to cost. He's going to go get the bids. We trust that he's going to go with the best price and the best product. Does he really, like you said, Carol, need to clog up an agenda for an expenditure that we know is coming and we know, is needed and that, he's shopped around for per this policy? I'm not saying I don't support it. I'm just bringing it up for discussion to see what everybody else thinks. But I think otherwise it's good, other than the English teacher going through with a red pen and, making this thing bleed.
John, I know what you're
I
talking
have the red
about.
pen right now.
Yeah. And I kicked around and looked at different things, when I was coming up with these limits, of what could happen, what might happen that all of a sudden, it's an emergency and it has to be done. And what would that cost? When you look at stuff now, even technology or whatever, if your major, server blew or whatever, and all of a sudden you can't stop operations at the township for 3 weeks, and that's going to be expensive, so things like that. When you look at old purchasing policies, they'd give them $1,000. Well, if one computer blows up, it's going to cost you more than $1,000. So, I tried to sort of give more on the higher end, but be realistic that things are a lot more expensive than they used to be. But like I said, those are up for discussion and modification if the board wants.
And the one thing that I believe that this board knows is that I always bring things with big tags to each one of you guys. I
Absolutely.
I don't just go off the rails on anything. We have a lot of conversations, and if it's even an emergency, I bring Patty and Michelle in the room and we talk about it because of the transparency of the township, and that will always be that way. So that's something that I don't think you guys have to worry about.
And John, I don't want my comments to be misconstrued.
I don't take them that way.
In any
No,
way.
I don't take them that way.
Okay, good.
I don't take them that way at all.
Because I don't want to, because I completely trust you, and you always have, the best interest of the township at heart. And every time you and I have ever had a conversation about needing something, you've already gone out and got tons of prices and researched it beyond what I would have ever expected you to have done before we had a conversation about something. So I appreciate that, first of all. But I guess when I look at this, I try to take you or any one of us out of the equation, just look at the policy without the personalities, because I completely trust you and I completely trust this whole board. I'm just saying, take the personalities out of it, and I just want to make sure everybody's comfortable. And I'm not uncomfortable with it. like I said, if there's a $100,000 emergency expenditure you have to make, a health, safety, welfare item, then you're going to make it. And any one of us would make the same decision if we were in your shoes, I'm sure. So I don't have a concern about it. I just wanted to bring it up. Those are a couple things I just wonder what everybody else thought about it. But if everybody's good with it, I'm good with it too.
Yeah, would anyone else like to kind of pipe into it?
Well, I would.
Go ahead.
Well, I went over it with Carol really close, and because we also have credit cards, and
Right.
those credit cards are the people who have credit cards have to sign for them. They know they're responsible, and not only does the department head have to approve any credit card spending, they get 3 eyes on them after that. And we've never, I mean, there's never been any abuse. But another thing is we had to order new computers. So like in Dave's department, each computer was $1,000. We were not really equipped for this COVID-19. You know, we were kind of limping along with some of our computers, and when people had to work from home, and we realized that even if Michelle and I go to a conference, it's almost more than $1,000, and we've always only spent $500. We only gave ourselves, Michelle and I, $500 limit. We can't buy a printer hardly, so we figured
you can't fill up a fire truck for $500.
Well, I'm just saying. So it's like Carol said. We talked about it extensively, and still no one buys. I'm going to just tell you, even if I want to buy a printer, I go to Michelle and John and say, hey, you know, Kathy needs a printer. It's going to be $650 or whatever it is. I even though I don't have to, I still consult them because it's always the right thing to do because we're spending funds. And so that's just how we always have operated. And so we talked about that $500. It's not enough for like even simple Michelle and I. It's $500 is not enough. So
no, it's 500 is way too low.
It is, so that we went to the 1,000 is really what it is, and mostly anything after that you have to talk to John, which as we should, you know. And John,
isn't it $5,000?
So yeah, so we just made it purchases to 1,000 for mostly all the department heads, and then
I thought it said 5,000, Patty. I'm sorry.
No, well, but Dave couldn't even approve his own computers for his department because we needed, you know, enough. And Michelle and I, and, you know, it's just, we're totally, and you'll see when we talk about the audit, you'll see how we're very conservative, by the way.
Yeah, they have to get quotes, Sean, for anything over $1,000 up to the 5,000. So they can't just.
Yeah, and we do anyway.
Randomly spend it.
Well, John, I admit, I have not had a chance to look at the entire policy because we got this, I got it last week and I just have not had a chance to get through it all. But, you know, I'm sure it looks good. And I was wondering, would it be something that we could table until next month? I don't know if there's an emergency to it. I just haven't, I know that I have not had a chance to look at it with as much detail as I really would have liked to.
I myself have no problem with tabling it, but I don't know
I
what
don't either.
Carol thinks, only because we don't have one. And that's the only.
No, when I realized you didn't have one, I thought it was critical that we move forward and get one. Another month is not gonna, you know, make or break
I have
that.
no
So,
problem with that.
yeah, and you know, obviously, what would be really great is when you review it, if you have any comments, if you could shoot them off to me or call me, you know, before the September meeting too, so we can keep this moving to be able to adopt it in September. That would be great.
Yeah. Okay, do we want to do that then? We'll just go ahead and table it for
So what
tonight.
you guys want to do? I've read it, so I mean, I'm good with it, but
Yeah, I'm good with it, but we can table it also. It's up to you.
I guess I'd like to
comment. I just the only thing that kind of jumped out at me was the $25,000, and I honestly didn't. I don't know. I guess I wasn't sure if that number was right or if it was too high or too low, because I can probably.
Can't buy a lawnmower. John can't buy a lawnmower if you don't let him.
No, I just could probably look at. I guess Sean kind of touched on it a little bit, but maybe I just need to see what other communities are doing, like what that number, I don't know if there's a magic number or not, but I guess I'm not too, I don't know, too opinionated either way on this. For the most part, it looked fine to me.
Yeah, and I'll tell
Hey,
you,
quick
Chris,
question.
it's not really a magic number, and probably if you look at some other policies, their numbers are lower. But some of those policies have been in effect, and frankly, I think some of those lower numbers are just unrealistic based upon technology and the things that, you know, we have to replace immediately. So, but like I said, you know, I'm flexible on those numbers. It's not something that I'm going to tell you it has to be this amount. It's just something that I thought was reasonable when I considered all the factors, but, you know.
Yeah, and like Patty, to your point too, I mean, $500 is ridiculous. So you
Yeah.
can't register for a conference for $500. That's, you know, it's, you know, ridiculous. But is our CIP threshold, is it 25 or 50,000? Why can't I remember?
I think
It is
it's
25.
Oh, it might be 25. I think it is 25.
25.
So, I mean, I think that's something that we should look to. I mean, anything over 25,000 becomes a CIP project. And I actually think 25,000 is a little low. I think we should
I do
maybe be
too.
looking at making the
Probably
threshold
up that.
50,000 for the
I agree with
CIP.
that.
'Cause there's a bunch of projects that shouldn't be projects, in my mind, 25,000. And that's just, maybe that's not relevant to this conversation, but a CIP update is coming or needs to be coming. So maybe
think
we need to
that's a
look
good
at
point.
if 25,000 is our spending threshold now for day-to-day stuff, then that shouldn't coincide. I mean, the CIP project should probably be a lot more than that then too before it rises to that level while we're looking at adjusting things. So.
Can I add one comment under the sealed bid section, Carol? It references that they're supposed to be published in the local paper, but we typically use Mitten to advertise. So could it be either or?
Yep.
Okay, that was my only comment.
And I get a.
What page is that on, Leslie? 9.
Well, I'll just.
Section 8.
Yep.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, the one thing, there is the, I believe the 5% local vendor preference that's in this. I've got mixed feelings about it. And this is coming from me on the other side when I bid on projects in communities with such policies that in a certain county, a couple west of us, there's a pretty strong what it might actually be 10%, where it discourages people from bidding on projects. So while I don't necessarily disagree with how it's written, it was just something that came to my mind because, you know, bidding on some stuff, if I see those, I take a harder look at it because not only do I have to be the low bidder, I also have to be 5% lower than the low bidder, so that it can be discouraging.
And, you know, most policies do contain some language like that, but I understand exactly what you're saying, and that's ultimately the policy decision for you to make.
Just something to consider. I'm not necessarily opposed to it. It's just, it makes me think twice on some proposals.
Okay. Well, do you guys want to table this or do you want to move it forward? It's up to you guys.
I'd like to make a motion to table our consideration to adopt the Lyon Township purchasing policy.
Okay. We have a
To
second?
the September meeting?
Yes.
I'll second.
All right, Kelly, could you please call this by roll?
Sure. Patricia Carconi,
Yes.
Lisa Blades,
Yes.
Ron Dolan,
Yes.
John O'Neill,
Yes.
Michelle Cash,
Yes.
John Hicks,
Yes.
Christopher Enlow.
Yes.
Okay, great. You know, I think we had another item on here, but I don't have it. Did you have
The
it?
personnel manual?
Did you put that on, Michelle?
Yeah, it's on the
Okay.
website.
Yeah,
It's on, it's item I.
Okay,
was
the
able
page
to
I
get
have,
into it.
it doesn't have it, but that's okay because we can go ahead for the consideration to adopt the personnel manual. And
Okay.
has everyone had a chance to look through that personnel manual? Because it's pretty deep, it's long, it's thick, it's a lot of reading.
Yep, I did.
I know you did.
Ken and I have been working on this for
I
a
did
long
too.
time with
Laura.
Laura and in Carol's office. And we were really trying to work super hard to like combine full-time fire with our full-time employees, full and part-time. But it just was not working for us to merge the fire because they're on 24-hour shifts and we work, 8 hours a day. So he's going to bring his next month to the board. I know there was a lot to read here too, and it took me hours and hours to go through all this. I just found another typo though on page 15, 7.3. I'm missing actually a word. 7.3 is use of vacation time, and it's the first sentence, and it says not less than one. It's supposed to say 1 hour. So
Yeah.
I'll get that in there if you guys want to, again, take some more time to read this. But Ken's will be coming next month. So what we were looking at doing on the very first, well, not the first page, I guess it's the front cover page. We're asking our employees, and especially if we get any new ones, to go ahead and sit down and go over this with them, which would probably be me anyhow. That the employee gets that copy once they sign and date it, once we've gone through it. There's a firefighter acknowledgement. So that will go on the front of Ken's book. So Ken will have his own small booklet to go with this and have his times in there. This brought us up to date from our last policy manual because we have a lot of addendums here that, of course, have changed through laws. So Laura did all that work for us and brought us up to date. I did just a few little tweaks of some things because we have existing policy in our office that if they have vacation time, if they don't use it, like 5 days carry over. So that, and then their personal time, she had made it a little different. So we just adjusted that to what we currently do. But that's up to you to decide how you want to handle that for our employees as a board. So I put best practices in is what we're going with now, but I would love for all of you to take a look at it and really let us know what you think. And we'll go from there. I mean, it's really what this board wants to do for their employees. And this board for a long time has been very generous to everybody. And I think everybody in our office knows that. So, but yeah, that's it. Just going forward, we had to update this and hopefully it's a working document with Carol's office that it keeps getting updated every year or two.
So Michelle, are you saying that maybe possibly we just table this for one more month? And
If
let
you guys
everyone
want
read
to, I
through it?
know everybody's been super busy with a lot of other things going on. Like I said, I'm really good with it and we'll have Ken's next month. So whatever you would like to do, if you'd like to approve them together, if you all got a chance to go through it, if there's anything else you see, again, we just wanted to get it in front of you because it's been, oh, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. And we've just all been so busy. So it's like, I got to sit down and do it and get it to you guys with Laura's help.
Yeah, and Laura spent a lot of time working with everyone, and I think it reflects what you have been doing and what you should be doing legally. So,
yeah, I think it would be helpful to have the fire one and this one together, and to look at them together next month and hopefully together.
Yeah, I mean, their vacation time, their times off, their days off are different because they have a 24-hour
everything's
shift.
different.
So everything else is going to be the same, but that will be different for their vacation time and their sick time and holidays, whatever and however Ken and Laura are working with that. I dropped off for a little bit just because of elections, so I'm interested to see what's going on. And I think we're meeting again next week, but I could be wrong. So I told him I would also help and go over the booklet.
Yeah, I'd prefer to see them at the same time because then if it's like the same comments on each, then hopefully it streamlines it. And since it is pretty lengthy.
This is a big one.
I can send it to you. I can
a lot of hours.
send you stuff over email or something, and that just like little type,
Yeah, please. Anything you can find with wording or typing or whatever, please. We tried our best to just keep going through it. And the more you read it, the more you see the words that aren't there because
actually,
already.
The more I read it, I don't see what's not there.
Okay, good. Then you read it again.
It's the opposite for me.
Well, let's make sure that whatever we do, we make that a drop dead date in September. to
Okay.
make sure this all gets approved.
Yep, September
It's
meeting.
been on the, it's been
Yeah.
on for a long time.
Because
so-
they can at least start with this booklet and we can try to get Ken's in, I would say I'm hoping within the next week. So, because again, it's a lot of the same information because you're working with employees and law. And then the other thing will just be how he handles his 24-hour shift, full-time people. That's way different than us.
And for what it's
Right.
worth, I just sent Laura the existing rules and regs, the revised or recommended rules and regs for the part-time, the SOG or the standard operating guideline index, and then I think it's about 6 pages as far as a policy manual for the career 24-hour firefighters.
Okay.
So we'll be talking next week, I believe.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know Laura's
That's what I
working on
kind
it.
of figured.
Well, that sounds
Okay,
good to
so,
me. So let's just go ahead and we'll table it until September. And somebody want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion to table the Lyon Township Personnel Policies and Procedures for the September 2020 board meeting.
I'll second. And if anybody needs a hard copy to work from instead, let me know. We can make a copy for you.
Okay. Kelly, could you call this by roll, please?
Sure. Michelle Cash,
Yes.
Lisa Blades,
Yes.
Patricia Carconi,
Yes.
Christopher Enlow,
Yes.
Sean O'Neill,
Yes.
John Hicks,
Yes.
John Dolan.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I do have one real quick announcement. Earlier today in the call to the public, Linda Haddock from Jim Runstead's office was on the line, and unfortunately she missed the call and we went by her, but she did text me and she really asked me to let everyone know that Jim Runstead is ready to help all of our residents, and he's here if any of you have any questions, and he's always there. And please feel free to call. And I do apologize to Linda that we missed her, but I wanted to let her know that I was going to tell everyone that she was here and she did want to talk to everyone. So thanks, Linda, for being here. She may have stayed the whole night. I don't know for sure. But thank you. But that being said, I think we're at the end.
Michelle, I just had a quick question regarding that personnel policies. You offered up a hard copy of it. Would you prefer corrections on a hard copy or would you prefer corrections electronic? And I could just redline.
I can take them either way, but electronic would probably be really good because then I know it's got our red marks. Either way, doesn't matter. Whatever's easiest for you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
You can redline mine, Lisa, on the purchasing.
Okay.
Do you have that in Word?
I don't have it in Word.
Okay.
so-
I'll
send
it to you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, well, a motion to be in order to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I
all
will
those in favor-
second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 We'll
Good night,
consider that a
everyone.
roll call.
Oh, do you even have to do a roll call on the adjournment? Do you
Yeah.
have to on it? All
Okay.
right.
Call
Kelly,
it by
could you
roll,
call?
Kelly.
Okay, one
I raised my
more.
hand.
Lisa Blades,
Yes.
Patricia Carconi,
Yes.
Michelle Cash,
Yes.
John Dolan,
I don't know. Oh, yes.
Christopher Enlow,
Yes.
John Hicks,
No.
I know, let's hang out a little while longer, right?
Majority rules.
and Sean O'Neill.
Yes.
He wants to stay too.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Great
All
meeting.
right,
I know
good
it was
job,
Good night,
Michelle.
everyone.
Thanks. Good
Good
meeting you
everyone.
guys.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
all.
everyone.
Appreciate it.
See
Good
everybody.
All right.
Bye.
All right.
Nice
Talk to
to
you
meet
later.
you, Jake.
Nice to meet you guys.
Bye.
Bye, Ken. We missed
Bye.
you at the PC meeting.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's
Yeah,
getting pretty
he did great.